Good evening. It's great to have you on the call once again, Donnie.
Great to be here. How's your week been?
It's been great. It's been great so far. Had a lot going on. I even attended a financial seminar
Really?
yesterday, just to talk about multiplying money, leveraging money and then working for clients and things like that. It's been a great week so far. How's it
Good.
been for you?
Yeah, very very busy, but very
Okay,
good. What's that?
awesome, awesome. That's great. That's great. That's great. So I'm trying. I think we are live now, and yeah, we have Maria as well.
Hey, it's my turn now.
Greetings. I know, right? What's up, guys?
Yo,
Yay! It's good to have you here on the call again once again, Maria. Thank you
Let's
so much for joining
see.
us. Yeah, great. So it's
Oh,
good to
wait.
have you
Is
again,
it my
Maria.
internet connection? Let me change my connection.
we can see and
Okay.
hear you.
All right.
This happened to me. I was on a Zoom with a client on Wednesday or Thursday, and my Zoom died in the middle of the conversation. It's embarrassing.
It happens to us a lot of the time, especially those of us here in Africa and Nigeria.
Yeah,
We do
sure.
have these network connectivity issues, so we try as much as possible to preset before we go live.
Yeah, you said that in one of your posts.
Yeah,
How not to mess up international
of course,
Zoom calls.
it can be a turn off. It can be a turn off. You can be in the middle of a call and then boom, everything goes off, and then just have to start again. So
Yeah.
I think Maria, are you with us now?
Yes.
Awesome, great. So we are getting a number of people on the live stream. So if you're joining us live, can you put it in the comments? Let us know where you're joining us from. And thank you so much for doing this. I want to appreciate you again, Donnie and Maria. Last week was fun. I mean,
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
spite of the short time we spent, it was fun. And then even till today, we are still getting tons of reviews. Tons of reviews. So
That's
thank
great
you
news.
again. Awesome, awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, Maria, before we go ahead, how's your week been? How's been the travels? We know you're traveling right last weekend, and then we just had to visit today.
Always.
So,
No,
Yeah,
it's
last
been
week
great.
you were at the airport trying to be on.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's been great. I had the opportunity to meet with some prospects, one of whom is moving forward while I was in DC. So yeah, it's good. It was a really good trip. Thank you for asking.
awesome. Danny, did you do any travels of your own?
Well, I live in the suburbs of Chicago. So last week, right after the call, we raced downtown down to the lake to get on the boat. And fascinatingly, I won't make this a long story. We were a quarter of a mile from the place where we got on, but we had to cross over a river to get to the place, and the bridge was up. And so we were sat in just by the bridge for like 40, it was probably 30 minutes without moving at all.
Oh,
We're like, we're gonna miss this boat.
oh wow.
Really?
I
We
didn't
ended up
know they
getting
leave it up that long. 30, 40 minutes?
it was long. It was forever. Even when the boat, because there's a river going
Yeah.
into the lake. Anyway, I said I wasn't gonna make this long. It was a long time. We just barely got on the boat, had a nice party. So it was
Oh,
good. Other than that, I've been here just working, right here. No flights, no nothing.
Uh, that's something. All right. Okay, so we're just gonna get into the discussion for the night for the day. Last week we did a lot of um, behind the scene when it comes to email writing. We got Maria to share ideas basically surrounding how anyone can start. And I
hmm,
remember, I kept that phrase somewhere, that sentence somewhere, just like Nike, just go for it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so going moving forward now, we want to talk about the practical aspects of email writing, marketing, and working for clients. Now, I think obviously one of the best practices when it comes to email writing is the subject line. And we've gotten a lot of response, a lot of questions from our audiences that when it comes to subject lining, writing the best subject line, how can I write a subject line that can get people to open my emails? So I'm going to start with you, Donnie. What's your thought process when writing great subject lines?
This is my favorite topic.
Science of subject lines.
That's right. There's a whole book somewhere about that. It really. What I usually start by saying this: in order to write the best subject line possible, you really got to understand who you're talking to. Because if I'm trying to, let's say, for example, sell, what I want to sell is digestive supplements so that people can, digest their food properly, get all the nutrients out. 20-year-olds don't think about that, right? People who think about that are 50 years old or whatever. So I would make a subject line that's tailored to the people who I'm trying to sell to. So the first thing that you have to the first thing you have to consider is who's the audience. And I always say this: you have to think about their pains and their problems, their fears and their frustrations, and their dreams and their desires. And so once you've done that, if there's something that someone's frustrated with, your subject line addressing that frustration or teasing about the frustration, they'll open it. If they really have a dream about something, I want to be a 6-figure copywriter. You don't have to. You just right there. You already know some subject line. That's the foundation of a great subject line or a series of great subject lines, because people want to be a 6-figure copywriter. So their dreams and desires, their fears and frustrations, their pains and problems. I'll work backwards this time. That's the foundation. But again, you only know that when you know who the audience, the target that you're really trying to go after is. And I got a lot more to say. I'm gonna take a break and let Maria get in.
Well, yeah, Maria, you have been, obviously a subscriber on your mailing list, OpenSpace/Cash, and I do get a ton of your emails like on the regular. So, what are your thought processes when crafting out or coming up with creative subject lines to sell your products, basically?
So my two favorite go-to are things that are relational, things that people will get, or not things, but similar subject lines to what you would get from a friend. So for example, one subject line that is literally a home run every single time that we use it, whether we use it for opens, clicks, cash, or for clients, is putting the person's first name behind 3 question marks. It gets people every time. It even gets me. And I'm the one who wrote the emails. So I remember just recently, this happened actually last month. And by the way, when I say we, obviously I'm referring to my team member, Jeanette. Jeanette Holiday, by the way, writes most of the content for Opens, Clicks, Cash. So as much as I would like to take the credit for it, I have to give her credit because she's an amazing copywriter who I thankfully met in Donnie's Facebook group. So shout out to Donnie for that incredible community. So, okay. We recently had a marketing campaign for a client, and I'm on the client's list, as I am on all of my clients' lists, because I want to make sure our emails are, going out as intended. And I got the email and I was like, wait, what's happening here? And then I clicked on it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is our email, so silly. But that works all the time. Another thing that I love to do, and it's still kind of piggybacking off of what I just said, but I love the use of merge fields. And I talk about this a lot. So for those of you who are unaware, a merge field is just basically data that your contacts have given you by way of an opt-in form, for example. So I may ask a person, how much weight do you want to lose? And they may say, I want to lose 30 pounds, right? So what I would do then is take that data that they gave me, insert the merge field and say, here's how to lose your 30 pounds. So because this is information they gave me. So the odds of them actually opening that email and reading it are very high because literally I'm just repeating the same data that they gave me. So those are really like my two favorite things to do. But of course, just like Donnie said, I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to know who you're talking to. You got to know what they're where they are today and where they want to be, and really kind of show them through your copy that, hey, this is going to get you there.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. The relevance of that. Two
Mm-hmm.
things that really matter for subject line, like grabbing your attention is that relevance. Because
Yep.
again, you say, "Here's how to lose 30 pounds," and I'm like, I'm underweight. I need to pick up. Then I'm not reading it because it doesn't relate to me.
Right.
I
Exactly.
actually, I don't know if I told y'all this. I accidentally lost 30 pounds. Accidentally lost 30 pounds last year.
Please show me your ways.
Or you don't want this.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
Please.
for me, that subject line doesn't work because it's not relevant to me. On the other hand, I mean, on the other thing, so the relevancy of it, absolutely critical. Because again, clever words matter less than knowing this email is for me. Is going to tell me how to accidentally lose 30 pounds. That's probably a great subject line. You know, I accidentally lost 30 pounds last year. I'll get a lot of opens on that.
You will.
I can't actually prescribe the thing that I did. It's not good. But anyway, but so relevance. And then the other thing is something that's urgent. And urgent, not necessarily, I mean, sometimes like a deadline. Deadlines are actually spectacular for getting people to open.
Mm-hmm.
But anything that's urgent in terms of I have to deal with this right now. You know, like for example, in financial, we do this all the time. If something happened in the stock market, how you cash in on it right now, people know if you wait a week, you'll miss a lot of money investing in some of these stocks. Or it's like this stock is about to announce this news. Here's how to do it. Here's how to play it. And so the urgency is, it's not that there's a deadline, but there's an opportunity that if I don't take advantage of it, I miss. And so if it's urgent to me, something I really want and something I want to take care of, and I need to do it now, I'll open it. And if I can deal with it later, I don't need to open that email because I could do it later. A lot of times it's not communicating that urgency or talking about something that's inherently urgent increases your open rate and your engagement with those emails.
Yeah, awesome. And Danny, you wrote a book about this some time ago. Email subject lines, the size of subject lines, and then I think you have a copy with you over there. Now,
there's one somewhere around here. I actually, so a handful of people have requested autographed copies, so I don't know if I even have any left in the house, but
all right. Now, you actually talked a lot about some aspects of writing subject lines, you know, thought processes and all in that material. Can you pinpoint some of those key points that stand out for you in that book?
I think there's a lot. I'll say a couple things. I mean, we can talk about all of it if you want to, but specifically, the first most important thing is being known as a person who sends quality content. So like you said, Maria, you know, when you get an email, it's going to be good. It's going to be quality information, useful information and resources in there. So you open it almost regardless of the subject line because the sender is someone you know is
exactly
going to give you value. So that's foundational. The secondary thing is understanding, again, like we talked about, what's important to the individual who you're talking to, not necessarily what's cool about me as a sender. Because a lot of times we'll think I have the best product ever. Let's just talk about my product.
Yeah.
That's not what matters to people. What matters to them is their own situation. I'm a copywriter who can't get clients. I need to deal with that. So if I can understand that you can help me with that, now I'm interested. If I think you're just talking about a product or a service or some way that you want money from me, I'm not as interested. So it's important for us to create subject lines and emails in general. Everything we do with the first thing in mind is, what does the person that I want to reach, what are they interested in? What do they need? What do they want? And then you figure out how to work backwards from that to what you sell. Now, about subject lines in particular, I think one thing that Maria said is exactly right. Personal sounding subject lines have high engagement rate. Of course they do, because it feels super relevant to me. It feels like somebody I'm friends with is sending me a message. So we can do things, and Maria's talked about this before as well. The most profitable campaign email for President Obama in one of his campaigns, I think the first one, was "Hey," and that's it. It just said "Hey." Barack is saying "Hey" to me. Cool. You got to open it. People open it, they read it, and then you give the money, and that sort of thing we can do as well. We don't want to every email. It shouldn't be that, because people start to get used to it. You want to vary the kinds of subject lines that you send. So personal ones are very good, and then we have benefit based ones. You see that a lot.
Sure.
So the idea of here's how to lose your 30 pounds. It's a benefit, a specific benefit that I'm probably on your list to lose weight, right? And then I will open that email because the subject line tells me about a benefit that I want.
Yeah.
So we need to think about that. How do we present the benefits of our product in various unique ways that your readers maybe haven't seen before, or something that will make them curious? How does that happen? How do I get that benefit in my life? We talked about urgency, so deadlines, and things that are happening that need to be capitalized on or avoided. Anyway, I won't get into that. We'll talk about that. So those are a few. I'll say a few more. Fear, which not everyone wants to do the fear thing, but it makes for good subject lines. If you use them occasionally, don't use them all the time. And as long as your email then pivots to positivity, you don't want the whole email to be depressing or terrifying, because then people don't take action. They just freeze up, or they feel disempowered. But you can use, one that I talk about a lot. I didn't write it, but it was something like 4 signs that your wife hates you. She has been acting funny lately, so maybe she hates me. It's probably my fault. And so I need to read that email to find out, is she getting ready to leave me? Is the mailman looking kind of, appealing? Do I need to watch out for that? So fear is something that we can use to get attention. And it's great for getting opens. And again, you got to transition to how you can take positive action in the email. But it's a good way to get attention. And the other 2 more I'll say. Curiosity, just pure curiosity. So if you can say something that people will, when they read it, they'll say, "How is this possible?" Or "What are you talking about?" that sort of thing. People, if they like you, they can open subject lines, or they open emails with subject lines like that. I'm trying to think of one that off the top of my head. I don't know. I should have prepared. But if we want to lean into curiosity, where people will say, "Yeah, it could be, how I accidentally lost 30 pounds last year." You say, "How do you lose weight accidentally?" And 30 pounds is a lot. Maybe you chopped off his leg or something, and I don't know. So you got to know. And then the other one, which is kind of closely related to that one that I just said, is story. If in your subject line you only have 30, 40 characters, but if you can communicate that there's a story inside the email, people love to read stories. And so the one that I talk about often because it's good, homeless folks need Netflix too. It's good curiosity there. And like, you're going to tell me a story about a homeless person who has Netflix. And it's a true story about a relative of mine who had no place to live, but had the 4-screen plan on Netflix. Bro, you don't have a place to lay your head. Anyway, what we can do subject lines that let you know there's a story, or using quotation marks, like it's a quote, like I can't believe he did this to me, in quotes. So someone who reads that subject line reads and understands someone is saying that another individual did them dirty, did something wrong to them, and I want to know the story. And so those are probably 5 or 6 or 7 of the 11 types of things that I talk about in the book. And we can get in more in detail, but that's a pretty good start.
Yeah. Okay. Just a question here. Now, you mentioned something that most of the time you got an email from Barack Obama as an example, and then why are you not to open Barack Obama's email?
Yes.
Now that begs the question: when I'm not a celebrity writer, in quotes, from somebody starting out from the scratch, and I need to send emails, and these guys literally don't know me outside email marketing. How best can I build That's trust when it comes to writing to them.
I'll say two things about that, and I should let Maria talk. I'm going to just give real quick.
Okay.
You can still
Okay.
use celebrities in your subject lines. You're just talking about what Barack Obama said, or what Alike Dangote said, right? You want to know that? What he? Oh, yeah, I want to know what he said, right? So you can talk about them, and a lot of people, you see this a lot on social media. A lot of the people who grow really fast, all they're doing is talking about celebrities, or all they're talking about is other people who are experts. I'm not an expert, but I'm going to tell you how this expert is blowing up on LinkedIn, or how this expert is, their Facebook group is going crazy, and you don't know anything. I mean, you're not bringing any unique value. You're just breaking down with someone else's value, and that works. Surprisingly, frustratingly, like I can talk about some of them too, and you should.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you develop your own value by just showing up consistently. People then, when they see Gideon's name, okay, I know Gideon sends good emails. I know Gideon is going to show up and give me good value. And then you build trust over time. So if you're like cold messaging people, which is a different conversation, you won't really have built that up.
Right.
But that's part of the reason why doing warm outreach is superior. But yes, you can absolutely develop trust over time. We all had to do it. Anybody you can think of, they built their way to that position of trust and authority. And we just had to think about it in terms of building towards that. I think, sometimes I feel like I'm somebody special, but pretty regularly I find out I'm not as special as I think. I was say, if you say, hey, if you went out and made a YouTube video or whatever, how Donnie Bryant writes subject lines, nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. They want to know how John Carlton does it. They want to know how Gary Halbert does it.
Yes.
They don't care how Donnie Bryant does it yet. I'm trying to work on that. So anyway, those are my
We
two
care,
tips.
Donnie.
We're getting there.
Right. Okay, Mario, can you when it comes to writing subject lines, how do you build authority, just to generate the clicks and the opens? Yeah.
Building authority. Well, like Donnie said, I mean, when a contact gets used to seeing your name in their inbox, that's definitely low hanging fruit. It's a great way to build authority, because at this point they know, wow, this person keeps showing up. But not only do you show up, you're also providing value. And so, like you said, consistency, delivering value, and delivering value consistently, I think definitely takes you a long way in terms of building authority for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me say this too, because it doesn't have to only be celebrities. One of the
Right.
most effective subject lines that I ever wrote, I can't remember exactly now, but it's JP Morgan. So we're talking again in financial. JP Morgan's 99.52% accurate trades or something like this. So again, I didn't figure it out. JP Morgan did. So the authority comes from a financial institution that's gigantic. They're doing $1 trillion in trades per year or whatever. And for the people who we were talking to, they know that this is one of the giants out there. Yeah. I just piggybacked on what they said. And actually, we made $1 million on this thing where we were talking about JP Morgan doing what they do. I didn't get to keep $1 million, but the company that I work for did over $1 million. And so it's you can just borrow other people's authority until you build your own. And even once you build your own, you can still refer to those authority figures that your audience is aware of.
Great. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. I just quickly want to ask Mario this. Now, I've seen you use this a lot when writing emails. Preview texting. Okay, some call it pre-headers, some call it preview text. I had this the copywriter asked me a question the other time that what is the importance of preview text? What is the importance? Why should I be more emphatic about learning how to write preview text? Can you probably shed some light on that, please?
Yeah, so I look at the preview text as a way it's like previewing a film, right? So we watch the previews of a film to decide whether or not we actually want to go and spend $100,000 for a movie ticket, because that's how much they cost today.
They buy popcorn and
so, it's the same with email. We read the preview text to see, okay, like, all right. So, like, for example, with our newsletter, every Monday, of course, we have the headlining story, but we also always include grant information. Ways for people to apply for grants for their business, and so we will use that preview text to say, okay, so let's say the subject line is how this copywriter earned $500,000 in 2 weeks with email, right? I'm just making up something. So then in the preview or the pre-header text, we would say something like, plus, 1 minute application for a 20K grant. Now that's too many words. We usually keep our preview text no more than 5 words. But my point is, it's to incentivize opening the email, right? So if the subject line wasn't enough for you, then we're going to give you that pre-header text or that preview text, and that should push you over the edge and make you say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to read this email. Yeah. So yeah, we use it quite often.
Great. Okay. Now, you mentioned something the other time about not making the preview text long. So what's like the average length of a good preview text?
Again,
how many words?
Yeah. We don't exceed 5 words. And the reason why is because when you're reading preview text, you've got to consider where it's being read, right? So if it's being read on a computer, like we're speaking on a computer now, if it's being read on a computer, then your contact should be able to read the full sentence. Let's say if it's 10 words, again, we don't go past 5, but they may be able to read the full sentence. But most of us are reading our email from these devices, from cell phones. So when you think about seeing how the emails appear in a cell phone, you don't have a lot of space. You've got just a tiny little bit of space, right? And so, as I would oftentimes say, your digital real estate on your phone is tiny. So with that being said, that's why we keep it, somewhere between, 1 to 5 words, because we want to make sure that the person is able to see the preview text when they're on their cell phone.
Yeah. 30, 40 characters. Yeah. I think it's something that people do, and they think that it's clever. A lot of times, a lot of templates will have at the very top of the email, click here to unsubscribe. And sometimes that shows up in the preview text. Pay attention. That's not what you want. That real estate is way too valuable for you to let it be click here to unsubscribe, or you don't even put that in people's mind. They want to leave, they're going to leave, but don't tell them you might want to leave. Oh, okay. I think yeah, like this is the first thing you're telling me. How to make 6 figures as a copywriter. Click here to unsubscribe. It's weird.
I mean, a lot of people put it up on their banners. There are some emails that have banner headlines, so they put it up. Click here to unsubscribe. Yeah, something like that. Does that sell?
No, that's stupid. And people, I'm telling you, not enough people test their emails, like send it to themselves. There's a function in there that says test. So you can look at, you need to look at it on your web desktop. You need to look at it on your mobile. You need to look at it in Gmail, because 50% or something like this of the emails on the planet are in Gmail. And I also recommend that you look at it on another thing, just so you got a variety of views. And sometimes you'll see, okay, this works great on all of them. Sometimes it may not. You want to prioritize mobile for sure, and you want to prioritize Gmail for sure. But I think it's good to get a variety of views, just so you know what it looks like. We've all had, Maria, tell me if I'm wrong, we've had clients send stuff out that they didn't look at, and the links don't work. Or I got one, the subject line says something ridiculous, like it's a placeholder. Oops, it happens. But oops, I mean, we probably all done it ourselves too. But
we just did this. We did it this week. It was very embarrassing.
I got that email.
My gosh, I was so annoyed.
I read about one corporate entity who sent out, and they said something like, "Here's your book, A-holes," but it was supposed to be a joke. And if you change it before they sent it.
Come on,
I'm telling you. And if you had sent it and said, let's just see what it looks like in the inbox, you would say, "Oh, wow, I can't call my readers A-hole."
That is awful.
Come on.
So we all just got to do better. and encourage our clients to do that as well. Like if you're not looking, you're probably missing things like that. Not necessarily cuss words, but you're missing opportunities to maximize the real estate that you got, and it's limited. So that's something for us to be aware of.
Right. Okay. Maria, you mentioned something about the use of mobile phones. I think Donnie also emphasized on that. Now, I've discovered that when it comes to the email body itself, the formatting,
Mm-hmm.
trying to, especially when it's like a long text
Yeah.
kind of body content, how do you make sure your formatting is right, such that when your reader is reading with obviously the mobile device, they don't just skim through it, they just read to the end. How do you do that?
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, statistically speaking, most people are going to skim, right? So if you think somebody's going to sit there and read your beautifully written thesis that you've delivered via email, just know that the odds of someone reading every single word in that email are slim to none. But with that being said, you can absolutely direct their attention to areas in the email that you really want them to focus on, one of which should be the call to action, right? And any
Yeah.
relevant, statistics. And so what we tend to do is one, we do write a lot of long form copy. And so we try to break up those paragraphs, right? Because sometimes it can be a bit intimidating when you're reading these long form emails via a cell phone in particular, and you just see globs of paragraphs. I mean, that is like, it's horrific for some people, right? It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we will bold font. We use bold font quite a bit. We'll italicize certain words, of course, for emphasis. We'll underline certain words. And we've even gotten to the point where, contingent upon what the call to action is, we will actually highlight and bold font. We may even change the color. I mean, we started experimenting with using red for the call to action, and then highlighting it in yellow. So for the things that you really want to draw attention to, if you are writing a long form email, my suggestion is definitely take advantage of bold fonting things, take advantage of underlining things, take advantage of italicizing things, and definitely take advantage of changing colors and highlighting copy as well.
Yeah.
One last
You
thing
can't
is,
see this, but
Come on.
Maria's email. They got enrollment opens Monday, April 29th. If you see nothing, you see that because it's in bold font.
that's so
Yeah.
true.
Done with you VIP. So even if you just read fast in all caps,
Yep.
fast, done with you VIP, open enrollment, and you got the call to action. If I read nothing but the things that are specially formatted, I got the story.
Yep.
I want it done for you. I want it fast. I know I got a deadline coming up. Actually, 29, like 2 days. I better not sleep on this, otherwise I'll miss it. So she's practicing what she's preaching.
Yeah. So one last thing I was going to say, we don't use this one as much. We use this one more in copy for paid traffic for Facebook ads, Facebook and Instagram ads. But another one is emojis. So if we really want to bring attention to something, we'll break it up with a couple of emojis in between. But again, we don't use that one as much via email because, unfortunately, again, you have to think about the devices that are being leveraged when they're reading your copy. And so, one emoji may look absolutely crazy on somebody else's device. And so we don't use that as much via email, but we definitely use it with our Facebook ads a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
had a client do that with it last year, and I did an email about Little Mermaid, and we had mermaid emoji, which looked cool on my end, but it didn't render at all when you sent it out. So again, they didn't test it. They could have tested it. Otherwise, you just got blank boxes, and it looks goofy, and you miss out on the impact. So it's an important point.
a mermaid emoji is actually in our place in Nigeria. We have this spiritual implications to it. So
Yeah.
we call it Mami Water, like a floating spiritual being, on the sea. And so if I were to get a kind of email like that, I would blank it off. But then, Maria, I just quickly want to get your thoughts on this. A lot of times we see that when people are reading emails, particularly like you said, on mobile devices, most of the time they don't read it in a pretty comfortable position. Probably they are in the traffic, they are at the mall waiting to get in line, waiting to get their order, and then they are going through their phone, and then your Gmail notification pops up, and then they are like, okay, skimming, right. click on the CTA button, or others are probably, in traffic, and, most of the
Yep.
time, I think that speaks to the fact that when you're writing emails, there must be like thin paragraphs, right?
Yep.
Thin paragraphs, and then, probably like two sentences in a paragraph. So I think Donnie does this a lot. I love the formatting, the thin paragraphs, like 3 words or 3 sentences in a paragraph. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that works well when people who are busy, especially in the mornings, on a Monday morning, going to work and
Yep.
things like that, are reading emails. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Donnie, do you
agree.
have,
Yeah.
okay.
And I
Donnie, do
just
you have
looked at the
anything to
email
say?
that she sent this earlier this week. We're looking at, there's 2, 3 lines, 1 line, 2 line, there's 4,
Mhm.
2, 2, 3, 1. So I love it. It's variety. So it's not all the same monotone,
Yeah.
but none of them are
Yep.
the globs that you mentioned, which you definitely are not going to get someone reading when they're supposed to be driving.
Right. Exactly.
Of course. I want to ask the question about emails landing in spam or promotion folder. I mean, that's a huge money going down the drain, especially in the spam. How do you take care of emails landing in spam, Danny?
I'll tell you one thing to think about. If you should look in your spam box for clients. They're in there because if you say, "Sir, ma'am, your emails are going to spam," you probably noticed that nobody's buying anything. It's because you're going to spam. I can help you with that. Let's talk. And I actually know I just got a text message from another copywriter who one of his most recent clients he got that way. Just looked in his spam box, sent a message, and yeah, I need help with that. And then conversation, close, retainer deal. So it's something for us to think about.
Right.
Yeah, I'm supposed to talk to him this afternoon. We'll see if I got time for him. Anyway, here's a couple of things to think about with spam.
Yep.
The game is changing regularly. Like I feel like spam is different than it was 2 years ago. Like totally different. And it's weird at least as I understand it, weird combinations of words. There's like a scoring system, at least on Gmail, which is the only one that I pay much attention to. And if you have two, like, I don't think there's any one trigger word that automatically puts you in spam. I think there used to be, but these days you could say anything one time. But if you have a combination of these words, that maybe they have, it's like a scoring thing. If I say millionaire and then I say, something else that seems like, okay, you said millionaire, you said work in your pajamas, and you said no money down. That's spam. I think that's spam. Google will say, nah, that's too much. You could say millionaire. You could say work in your pajamas. You could say no money down, but you can't say all three of those. So
Right.
we have to watch as we go. And this is another thing that you should do. If you can use the little, I can't remember what it's called now. I never remember. Mail Genius, maybe? And you can send it there and see, and it'll give you like a spam score. But you can also send it to yourself. Here's what I recommend. Quickly, set up a Gmail account where you never open anything. It's your testing email. I have mine as well, Donnie testing at gmail.com. And you can just, when you do your test to look at it, also send it to your Gmail and see where it lands. If it goes into spam, you may have a problem. If it doesn't go to spam, you may not have a problem. It's not a guarantee, but it gives you a foundation to understand. So you can kind of watch patterns. So anyway, test for that. Use the Mail Genius, I think is what it's called. There's a lot of them. If you look for spam test things, it's free online. You can do that.
Sure.
Don't send something that's spammy. How about that? If you focus on value, you focus on being honest, like have conversational stuff, not overly pitchy or overly weird, like creepy. Gmail actually notices that if you're being creepy or not. The other thing that you can do is this, and should do, is get response. If you have people clicking your emails, it tells Gmail there's something valuable here. If you have people replying to your emails, then it's proof to them. People don't reply to spam people unless they're about to get screwed over. But that doesn't happen in large numbers. So every once in a while you say, hey, I'm just curious, what's your biggest question about email copyright? And you get a certain percentage of your people emailing. It sends a signal to Gmail, to Yahoo, to Outlook that this person is real. They're having a real relationship with their readers, and it can't be spam. And so there's personal stuff in terms of, if I mark it as spam, it sends a signal to Gmail, but it may not affect everybody else, but it will affect me, my inbox. And then also I've seen it happen where if I don't open 5 emails in a row from somebody who's sending a lot of emails, my stuff goes to spam, and it may not for everybody else. So each person's inbox is personalized to some extent.
Yep.
But each individual contributes to the overall sender reputation. And so you want people to click, you want people to reply, and you want high open rates, which is why you also got to clean your list of people who don't engage. And then you're just telling Gmail on a regular basis, I send good stuff.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Mario, I think that was somewhere around February. We had this issue. I mean, email marketers had this challenge with DMARC records, SPF records. I think you did a series of videos on that, how to, because Google was obviously beginning to have issues, and then they had to, do a lot of notifications, sending out to email writers. Now, the whole DMARC records and SPF, I think I had issues with that because I noticed that for some time my emails were not delivering in the primary box of my reader. So what are your suggestions, especially when it comes to the technical aspect, the back end of ensuring your emails don't land in spam or in the promotions?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, you definitely want to take care of the technical stuff. The thing is, email delivery is a very nuanced process. We oftentimes think, okay, I just type the email into the email marketing software or into my CRM software, and then it just goes out. But the thing is, it goes through so many filters before it even reaches the person's inbox or the contact's inbox. So the first line of defense is going to be the company that is delivering the email on your behalf. Okay. So of course, my team members and I, we're certified experts with the CRM company called Entreport. So that's what we use to send all of our emails. So Entreport is the first line of defense. If Entreport has a poor delivery reputation, then our emails are doomed from the start. So once it goes through the Entreport filter, now it goes into what I call like the Google guides, right? So into Gmail's filters, and it goes into what Donnie was saying in terms of, the combination of copy that you're putting together in this one email. But then also there's your reputation, your domain reputation specifically. And so that's where the technical stuff comes into play. That's why verifying your DMARC and SPFK or whatever thing called is so important. It's so important.
We're talking about motion.
I know, right? Seriously, I can't keep up with all these acronyms. Like, our industry is so ridiculous with the acronyms. So, what is it? SPK? What is it? Now that I think about it. Is it SPK?
SPF.
Okay.
Is it SPF? Right.
Okay, yeah, you're right. So the tanning stuff is SPF. So, SPK, DMARC, that's where all of these things really come into play, because if you have not been able to authenticate your domain name that's associated with your email address, you could very well land in the spam folder. And also you'll be blacklisted. So it's very important that you take care of the technical aspect. Now, one thing that we do with email is when someone opts in, and for those of you who've joined the newsletter list, thank you. You may have noticed this. We always put a reminder on the thank you page when someone opts into our form. We give them a reminder and say, if you didn't receive the email in 3 to 5 minutes in your inbox, please check spam. See, you've got to do that because, like Donnie said, everybody's inbox is different. A lot of companies, there was a very kind gentleman I met in South Africa years ago. He gave me his email address, and I was so excited to email him and follow up. And literally every single email was rejected because his spam filter was so high. I couldn't even reach the guy. So literally I never made contact with him because his spam filter was too high. So, you have to make sure that you kind of remind people, hey, you've just opted in for this thing. If you want to get this thing and you don't see the email in 3 to 5 minutes in your inbox, check your spam. And you will be surprised how many people will actually follow that direction and go and find your email and drag it out of spam. So you've got to take care of that technical aspect. You've got to find a good service provider that has a good reputation. And you've got to leverage the thank you page, for example, which is invaluable digital real estate, to remind folks to go and check that inbox. And if it's not in their primary inbox, go and check spam.
Oh, okay. Someone, we have a friend saying most times when emails are sent to my unused Gmail account, it falls into the spam folder. But when sent to the list, it gets into their inbox. I don't know what may be wrong. So I think that has to do with,
if you have an unused Gmail account, Gmail, I mean, over time, as emails are going in there and you never open them, Gmail says, well, this person doesn't value these emails, and that particular account, things will go into spam.
Yeah.
So it's tricky like that, but in an email account where they're regularly engaging with that, they get a different signal. So it's not proof of anything necessarily, but like I said, each inbox individually, there are factors like that. You never open these emails, it's going to go into spam, even though maybe for everyone else even if they open 1 out of 5, they're engaged to some extent. And then when they click, it's like, okay, these people are paying attention. But at the unused one, you're never paying attention.
Yep.
So, over time, each individual sender becomes identified as not interesting to you, and then they go to spam. So it's probably just because you don't use that email, you don't use that account.
Yeah.
okay.
And I wanted to add something really quickly, Gideon. One thing I want everyone here to understand is sometimes the spam thing is just truly arbitrary. You can do everything right.
Yes.
And then randomly your email will fall into spam. I mean, this has happened to literally, there are, business colleagues that I emailed back and forth, and then their response to me for some reason fell in spam. And I mean, we've been in communication. It's the weirdest thing. So sometimes it really is just a random occurrence. And so I think that again, this is why I'm very big on reminding people to check that spam folder. And those of us who are in this industry, I think we need to just really develop the habit of encouraging people to check spam, even after they've already engaged with our brand. We just need to encourage them to check spam as often as possible, because sometimes it's just arbitrary and stupid and it just lands in spam.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and when you mark it as not spam, you're helping out the person who sends the email.
Sure.
Right.
Great. Yeah. Danny, I just want us to fall back into the email writing aspect when it comes to marketing. Last weekend, we were talking about the use of AI. You shared your screen with us the other time. And, we had discussions centering around the fact that AIs are not meant to make your emails robotic, So when it comes to writing emails now, Maria said something last week that she uses AI for research, just to generate ideas and things like that. So when it comes to writing leads, you've written the subject line, you've gotten the preview text ready. Getting into the flow of the email itself can be challenging if you don't use AI. Or rather, the question should be, how do you get into the flow? How do you make sure that one paragraph follows the next down to the CTA, down to the
I'll tell y'all something that's super interesting. I could talk all day. I'm just trying to keep myself in within some kind of confines of conversation. Just as a side note, though, y'all got to look at Claude, the artificial intelligence. Like, everyone uses ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT is good. Claude is incredible. Don't tell anybody I said this. I know we're live. Hopefully nobody hears this. I had a project. I didn't really want to do this project. It's for a client who gives me some little tiny projects every once in a while, and I can do it quickly, and so I'll knock it out and make some money. Listen, I went in there and I used Claude to write the whole thing. Almost, it's an advertorial. So the lead isn't great. The close, it doesn't know. But here's the point that I want to make. Not that it's an an incredible like final product by itself. But when I put the output from Claude into the AI detector,
Excuse me.
it didn't detect it. It detected ChatGPT and said this is 77% chance this is AI. Claude, the new Claude, it said this is written by a human for sure. 0%. Now, it still took me time to write because it doesn't give you exactly what you want. But if you want to use AI and get away with it, check out Claude. And Claude is still free. There's a paid version, but Claude, the free version it gives you a more conversational thing. And one thing that I had to do is I say make this conversational and fun. The audience is basically beauty bloggers, that kind of audience. Not that the audience that beauty bloggers have. That's the tone we were going for. So make it because the first thing that came out was very professional sounding. Make it conversational and fun, and then it was like, girl, I think it snapped too. It was weird. It didn't snap, but it was really almost sounded like something that you would really seriously read on Facebook. Somebody talking about this product. It was really great. For me, I had to tell it what I wanted it to do, like not line by line, but like section by section. So to get to the question, the way that I set up the flow of an email, there's two things. Number one, you got to know where you want to end up, and then the logical flow of it. How do I logically connect the beginning to the end? Or you can work backwards. How do I logically arrive at this end? And like you can kind of like go backwards. What points do I need to prove, or what arguments do I need to make that will get me there safely and logically? Logic isn't always the most important thing, but for me, it's like the flow has to be there for me to understand how I want to write it. So knowing where you want to get to ultimately, I'm selling surfboards, whatever, I'm saying, like, how do I get there? And so you kind of work your way back. But the other thing is you just have to put in the reps. For me, I feel like I've always been maybe above average as a writer, but it took a long time and a lot of writing to really it's CLAUDE. Is there an E on there? I'll find
I
it.
think there's an E. Yeah, I think. Let's see.
If you look it up, Claude AI, it'll figure out what you're doing. But it took a lot of time writing until I really felt my own voice developing. Thank you. Where I really felt like, okay, this is my style. This is my how I make arguments and get from the beginning to end. So one thing is we're all learning, we're all improving, and so wherever you're at, this is the worst you'll ever be. You know what I'm saying? As long as you keep growing, get better and better. And so for me, some of these things, they look effortless. People say, oh, it's easy for you to write. It's not. It never was. But it's a muscle, a skill that we develop, and you just kind of build your own style. So put in the reps. And that sometimes it includes writing to yourself. You're writing on social media. Just think about how would I do this if I was doing it for a client? And then you build the muscle. So that's for me. Like I like, sometimes I know exactly where I want to start and I would know where I want to get. You just got to make a logical connection. And then the other thing is, as you're writing, be willing to go with the flow, because sometimes when you're writing, the thing changes shape in the middle of the project.
Sure.
Once I say this, it's like, ooh, your brain, once you're in motion, your brain sees options and you might want to go here or there. But if you give yourself an outline, kind of like I said, a logical flow from beginning to end, you don't necessarily know all the points in between, but here's basically the argument I want to make. And then you get working on it. Your brain goes to work, and then you find options that you didn't even realize that you had, or you have thoughts, or you have questions, and your questions are valuable because then it makes you explore. And so sometimes that's why it slows you down, but it makes the quality of your email so much better. So I hate that answer was so complicated. But here's a succinct version. Determine where you want to go and make a logical path to get there. That's one. And number two, just practice. Lots of practice will get you there. And I feel, even looking back 2 years, maybe not 2 years, I feel like maybe now I'm in a pretty good place. But I look back and say, oof, the emails were not great. That copy was could have been so much better. But you got to go through the average to get to the above average, to get to the good, to get to the great, to get to the legendary. There's no way to shortcut that. Even with AI doesn't do anything you don't tell it to do. So you got to know these things, and you're going to figure it out by going through the process repetitively.
Right. Mario, do you want to chip in some thoughts here?
Do better than me,
No,
please.
I feel like he explained it very thoroughly. Honestly, I mean, knowing where you want to go, and I think the original question was like how to develop the flow from start to finish.
Yeah.
The only thing I will add is storytelling is always a great way to capture people's attention. Human beings, we are wired for stories. We love stories. So I oftentimes do leverage storytelling in email copy, especially for clients. We did that recently with one of our nonprofit clients, and we're able to double their donations via email. So storytelling is very, very impactful. And so long as you write the story well, obviously you have to write the story well. From the moment that the person's eyes get to the first word in that email, they will be captivated. Or they should, if it's done correctly, they'll be captivated, and whatever the call to action is, they'll be led to do it. So storytelling is also a really great way for you to have a good flow from start to finish.
Yeah, listen to this. Also, storytelling minimizes scrolling, because in a story, you don't know where the details are going to come in. So,
Yeah.
I mean, skimming. I can't skim. I need to know what's happening to get to the end. If we just got informational stuff, I look for the bullet points and I get it. Story, I got to read. And I want to experience it. If it's a good story, you enjoy it. Like, who enjoys reading emails? When you get good emails, you do. I look forward to getting emails because I'm going to go through the story.
Yep.
One thing I'll say about stories, and I think I'm glad you brought that up. It's a great point because it gives you the structure. Tell the story.
Yeah.
Understand you don't have to give every detail in the story.
Oh, yeah.
It can slow down the flow, and you don't always want to start at the immediate beginning of the story. If you don't want the story to have to take time to ramp up.
Right.
Start with something, or even if maybe you do, but like the first paragraph, first line makes me say, this is a story I want to know.
Yeah.
So then you can build up. But if you say, the other day I was at the grocery store, you already got me a little bit bored. You say, you know what I'm saying? If you said, I thought I was going to die at the grocery store yesterday. Oh, well, I didn't die at the beginning of the story. I died in the middle of the story. The first line says, Donnie almost died. Okay. Or like my story, I made a grown man cry on Christmas Eve. What? Well, I had to tell the whole story. It doesn't start with
exactly. Yep.
But my subject line is, I made a grown man cry on Christmas Eve. I'm in it. Donnie,
I know that story.
I thought Donnie was nice. Well, you thought wrong. Donnie is not nice. Donnie doesn't care about you. I'm playing. But it gets you in, and now I can tell the story, and it builds then to that climax. And so your point is absolutely great. I just want to make sure everybody knows it's not like when you pick up a Stephen King book and I know I'm in for a ride. It's an email, so you got to snag them right away.
Yeah.
You can commit to wanting to know the story, and then you can tell the story in the logical flow. So just the first line or two, or even the subject line, sets you up, or they're in it. I need to know about Donnie making grown men cry. Nothing wrong with men crying, right? But just saying that one worked like crazy because everybody wants to know about that.
Yeah.
And you can do the same thing. Just start the terms in media res, right, in the middle of the action. So
yeah.
It's like a movie. Like you said, the movie trailer doesn't show the beginning of the movie. The movie trailer shows the explosion or the kiss or the crash. And then I need to know all the other stuff. Yeah. So make sure we're doing that.
Yeah. I wanted to mention what you said just now about starting from the middle of the action. And I think one of the best ways to get story ideas is when you watch Hollywood. I love watching Hollywood movies. I believe that's the biggest industry ever. And when it comes to some of the companies under Hollywood, like Marvel Studios, these guys are known for producing blockbuster movies. And in the trailer aspects, they start from the middle of the action, and then you just want to know what happens at the end. So I think one of the best ways to get story ideas is to obviously watch a lot of movies and start from the middle of the action. People just get excited when they see. All right.
Yeah.
And then okay.
Netflix should be a tax deduction. I don't know how taxes work in Nigeria, but in America we can write off things that are investments in our businesses.
Yeah.
Netflix should count. I'm watching Netflix to understand story, understand hooks and things like that. So it's a great point. Your video about the WWE, those
Yeah.
are spectacular, and they get you hooked for decades. You can't stop.
I mean, and that's one thing I love about the WWE sports entertainment. They are like, these guys just know how to sell out massive events year after year. They just completed one WrestleMania 40 that got the whole world talking about that. So I think one of the best ways you can get, I don't know, it's in the United States. I mean, this is a show in the United States, and lots of people are raving about it, and it's world over. So can you possibly share us other ideas so we can get content ideas from, especially when it comes to people experiencing writer's block, email copywriters not knowing what to write, but you want to sell. You have to send out an email today, and you're obviously blank. What other content ideas do you use?
Maria, you want to go?
So honestly, when it comes to writer's block, a lot of times you may just be overwhelmed and tired. Sometimes literally shutting off the computer and just taking a breather. If you can go somewhere and walk, if you can literally just stand outside for a moment, you will be surprised at how life inspires you. You may see two birds fighting and be encouraged to write something about the birds fighting, right? I mean, you've got to, you may need to just step away for a moment. So for me personally, when I'm experiencing writer's block, either I'm going to shut off the computer and just go outside and just, get a breather. Or I love animals. Like I love to see funny animal videos. So I will literally go to YouTube. And unfortunately, the algorithms know me very well on all platforms because all I do is watch funny dog and cat videos in particular. So I just go over to YouTube and type, funny animal videos. And I mean, I would just have the laugh of my life watching those videos. And again, sometimes you just need a moment for your brain to not be so engulfed in work and the tension that sometimes can come with that. There's a lot of pressure. You're writing for a client. You don't know if the client's going to like the copy. You're not sure if there are so many factors, right? So for me, it's taking a breather, stepping away from the work for a while and coming back to it. And I'm telling you, that works every time. It just works. So that's what I do. And of course, I'm curious to hear what Donnie does.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch animal videos, but
missing out. You're missing out.
Sure. With the taking a walk unmatched when it comes to releasing the locks that kind of got you blocked. At least for me, I used to if I wanted to take a walk, automatically the ideas start to come because you're like in your body instead of in your head. And then when you're not in your head, the things kind of come, they shake loose. You got to walk with a notebook or a voice you can record on your phone. You have your best ideas. Mine come walking or doing yard work.
Yep.
I'm supposed to be paying somebody to do my yard work, but I stopped because this guy never showed up. So I just anyway, when I'm mowing the grass or raking the leaves or taking a walk, those are great ideas for me. Also, I just collect ideas as I go. So when anytime you hear something on the radio, you hear something on an interview, you read a story, you see the dog video where something cute happened. I was on a call this week, and another copywriter said they were on a plane. She was on a plane, and there was somebody on the plane with diabetes, and their dog could measure his blood sugar with his nose. So the dog would say, "Okay, it's time for your insulin by smell." She said, "There's a idea right there. Dogs can smell blood sugar. I can't. Apparently, if you train them right, they can." Anyway, there's ideas all over us. So I say, there's ideas all around us. I say, live life and write emails. That's how it is. You get a lot of your ideas from interactions, from almost dying at the grocery store, right? And I store them. I had some of my best ideas. I capture them, and I don't know how I'm going to use them, but they're in a vault over here, so that when something the idea or the opportunity arises. That JP Morgan thing that I mentioned, the subject line, 99.52% winning trades. I had that idea for, I think, for 2 years. Was it 2 years? Maybe. It was over a year. I said, I'm going to use this at some point. Something from JP Morgan's investor relations or their annual report. And I saw it. I'm going to use this at some point. And I tucked it away. One of my subject lines that I love, I tell people this and I get in trouble, right? ... and they left the cocaine. It's a great thing. That idea was, I think that idea was 3 years. And I didn't even know that it was going to be, I don't know what the subject line was. I mean, I didn't know, but the idea came from a story I heard on the radio, and it wasn't about cocaine. The email I wrote was about email marketing. Interestingly, what does cocaine have to do with email? Well, you have to read the email to find out. But I stored the idea for 2 years, 2 or 3 years, just after something I heard on the radio. So I get in the habit of, when you hear ideas, capture them because you can use them later. And it could be anything. And you can use them multiple different ways if you see different uses for them. So, walking, getting out there and just doing something, taking your mind off of it. Because one of the reasons we get blocked, like you said, Maria, is we're anxious because we're unclear or unsure how the client's going to feel or what they expect from us. What if I send something that they're not looking for, or they had something else in mind? Now you're over here worrying, and you can't write. Some of them ideas will come out. So and then collecting ideas as you go. There's always something. there's always something that you can just say, I don't even know. I have a small group of people that I chat with, entrepreneurs, and they were talking about car issues. My friend was driving a car, and the car said, it's time for you to take a break. Cars now tell you to take a break. That's weird. But then my idea was, how many times do we drive, we're driving our life too hard, and we don't stop and listen to the signs, right? You're burning out and you don't pay attention to your own signs. Anyway, you can do anything with that, but you just got to be aware of the stories that are around you.
Yeah. I'm surprised nobody.
I talk way too long. I'm sorry.
I'm surprised none of you mentioned getting ideas from the restroom. I do that a lot.
From the what?
Yeah, getting ideas from the restroom. The restroom. When you go to the restroom. Yeah, the restroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you go to the restroom, you want to do the thing. You're having your early morning bath, and then you just. I do that a lot. That's why I get inspirations.
Oh, really?
So when I'm going to the restroom, I'm taking my phone with me, and I'm not coming out for the next 20-30 minutes. That's
wow. Well,
it's
really we know that we have to use the restroom first before you go in there.
I mean,
first.
At work, whenever I go to the restroom, they just shut it down. Like, this guy's not coming out anytime. Because it's just going, and it's actually fun. I love the fact that we get ideas literally everywhere, and there's this speech app I do use, text to scanner, speech to text app I use, so when you get the ideas, ideas are like instant. They come and then they go almost instantaneously. So you just want to write them down. If you don't have your notebook and pen, you just want to record them and then build on it much later on. That's great. That's great.
Years ago, Ben Settle said, I remember hearing Ben Settle say he used to take 2 showers a day because he had great ideas in the shower. So you don't need a shower, but it's like, this is where I get ideas, so I'll be in the shower.
Yeah. Right. So let's talk about the issue of London clients. Okay. Most of the time, it has to do with a lot of email writers talk about the fact that they don't know how to land clients, and they don't know where to look. They don't know what to do when it comes to London clients, especially looking at the fact that you're talking about how to make your first 2K, writing for businesses. So I'm going to start with Mario. Mario, do you probably have any tested and proven methods of landing future clients, when someone wants to make his or her first 2K?
Honestly, I've been very transparent about how 2023 was a horrible year for my business. And I think even industry wide, it was a very, very rocky time for a lot of folks in our space. I'm not going to say everyone, obviously, but 2023 was horrific, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this to say that what trumps everything is showing up, despite the fact that 2023 was literally one of the worst years I've ever had, personally, I've ever had in business. I kept showing up. What's
Yeah.
odd about 2023 for me is that it's the year that I had the most visibility. I had the most speaking engagements. I had the most webinars and all of this stuff, right? And so what has happened is because I laid that foundation last year, now I'm starting to benefit from that this year. So my take when it comes to acquiring clients, like for me personally, when I do a lot of events, live events, so on and so forth. Those are really great ways for me to capture leads and eventually work with people. But honestly, just showing up and doing something consistently, it goes a very long way. And the thing is, most people quit when it gets hard.
Yep.
The moment things get hard, people just tap out and say, okay, well, this isn't for me. Maybe it's a sign. I've got to, pivot and do something else. And while pivoting, I'm not against anybody pivoting. You got to do what you got to do to survive. But I will
Yeah.
tell you that there is immense value in just keeping going. Like if you just
Right.
keep going, I promise you things will change. The way that I have a good friend of mine out of Rwanda, Dr. Harnett, who told me years ago, money is energetic. And that's one of the most profound statements I've ever heard as it relates to business in particular. Money is energetic. So if you think about that, if you are putting your energy in areas where there is money present, it may not come immediately. I think, unfortunately, we live in this microwave society where we're used to everything being readily available for us within moments, just a couple of minutes rather.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality. And especially contingent upon, the cost of your products and services, it may take a little while. But when it does come through, it comes through and it pays off quite well. And so for me personally, my tested and proven method of getting clients is to keep showing up. Literally, keep doing the YouTube videos. I mean, I don't know, for those of you who have subscribed to our YouTube channel, we have consistently delivered YouTube videos every Monday and every Friday since last year. And we're not going to stop. That is just what we're going to do. If you've been on my email list, we have consistently sent you an email every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have not missed a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday of you not receiving an email. So you've got to be committed to showing up. And like I said, too many people give up when it gets hard, but life is hard. It's hard regardless. So you just got to choose which hard you want to choose. And for me, I'm choosing the consistency hard because it's very hard to keep sending stuff when the bank account is at negative $10. But you got to do it. You just got to do it. So for me, again, the tested and proven way of getting clients is just to keep showing up. One last thing, and I'm sorry, not only just showing up, but you got to ask for the sale. Like I'm honestly rather shocked at how many people are bashful or embarrassed to ask for the sale. Like you're in business to make money. I mean, sure, you're here to make impact as well, but what is the point if you're not making money? It's demoralizing, honestly. When you're working hard and not seeing the fruits of your labor, not being able to take care of yourself financially, is demoralizing. So you owe it to yourself to ask for the sale. So whenever I'm in front of an audience, I'm going to ask the audience to do something. Last time we were on this call, I asked the audience to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to ask you again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Today, we're talking about the newsletter list. Subscribe to the newsletter list. Like, stop being bashful and prideful. You've got to ask for the sale. So those are my two things. Show up consistently, ask for the sale.
Listen. Your first order in business is to get paid. That's it. Impact comes when you can sustain yourself. If you make no money or want to do good work, get paid first, and then you can worry about what you can do for other people. Maria couldn't be on this call if she didn't have no money. Right? She couldn't do it. And
Right.
once you have a foundation where I know that I can spend this time not necessarily getting paid in cash, we're here to help. Now getting paid in subscribers to the YouTube channel, everybody gets paid from that because them videos are great. Them videos are fire.
Yeah.
Getting on the newsletter, you're going to get quality information 3 times a week and without fail. I'm on it too. And so, I benefit from it every week.
Thank you both.
Watch the videos every week. So, but getting paid, there's no need in being bashful. And I can tell you from experience, you lose money if you don't ask. You think people will know, they don't know. You
Nope.
think I had a colleague of mine who's another copywriter, and do you even take clients? Yeah, why did you? Because you never asked for it. Oh, okay. I need to fix that, because if you think that I'm not taking clients, you won't even come to me with that. And so you got to make sure people know you're available to work with them, and constantly, consistently, unashamedly let them know I'm here to work. I'm here to help. I'm here to make you money. And if you don't do that, like I said, I learned from experience, then you lose money. And then people I had somebody tell me this, a friend of mine, the only reason I bought from this guy is because you never offered me anything. Oh,
Oh, wow.
friend. You're my friend. Doesn't matter. He gave money to the other guy. And it's my fault. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
I didn't give him away.
Yeah.
And so we gotta figure that part out and not be embarrassed at all. I'm here to get paid. I'm here to get paid. And when I get paid, you get paid. That's how it works. That's what we do, is we set our clients up to get paid, or to do whatever they do, whatever is valuable to them. We're bringing value to their lives. So there's nothing wrong with getting paid and making that a priority. And believe me, I've been broke longer than I meant to be. And I have children, and so my children are the younger child doesn't know what it's like to be broke. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that there's things that you can't do.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows I'm not going to buy him a Lamborghini. He asked, I want a Porsche for my first car. That's not happening. There's a couple reasons that's not happening.
Dream big, baby boy.
I don't have a Porsche yet, so it's not happening. But when you have other people you want to be there for, it doesn't make sense to be bashful around your clients. You need to get paid so you can take care of yourself. You can take care of your family. You can take care of your friends. You can take care of the cause that you want to help. And so it's good to get paid. Money's energetic. I wrote that down. Money is energetic, and it is. So anyway, I have slides. I promise I will be quick.
Okay.
Are y'all cool with that?
Yeah.
I got a few slides.
You can share them.
I'm going to be super quick about it, I promise.
You can share them.
Actually, not quick, but I'm going to do as best I can.
Right.
Donnie, while you're pulling up the slides, I'm just going to share something really quickly.
Yeah.
When Donnie brought up the fact that his friend went and paid someone else to do a service that he could have rendered, and he said he did so because he wasn't asked. I think for me, that affirms the importance of people needing to feel special.
Yeah.
The friend felt like, oh, well, yeah, I know Donnie, but I mean, he didn't ask me.
Yeah.
You do have to, you gotta, you've got to consider that people like to feel special. They like to feel like you want to work with them.
Yep.
So that's even more of a reason why you should ask for the sale, because you may low key be offending somebody by not asking them.
Yeah, that's a great point.
All right.
You should foster relationships with entrepreneurs. A lot of your first clients may come from people that you know, and even if they're not entrepreneurs, but they may work at an organization that needs a new website or needs social media. And if you let them know you do that, then they can put you in a position to get those clients. And your first clients can be from your friends, and that's maybe the easiest place to go. Now, most of your friends are not going to do it, but that's a great place to start while you're building up everything else. I'm going to move quickly, I promise. I said I'm old school. I think for every copywriter who wants to be taken seriously, you should have a website with your own domain. I know it's not easy to do that. When you can, I encourage you to do that, because it positions you as professional, as taking this serious, and you can be found in the search engine. You should be on LinkedIn. Right now, LinkedIn has been a great place to get clients for years, and I'm going to show that in a second. But there's a ton of people networking there. There's a ton of people hiring there. There's a ton of people making recommendations, referrals there. And you might as well be there. I think you should also build an email list. I know that's not, and when you think about getting your first clients, that may not seem like the first place to get it. And maybe it's not the first, but over time, I've gotten money from a good percentage of my list in one way or another. Some of them have hired me to do work. Some of them have bought, my book or courses or events I'm doing. They will give you money, but you got to build a list. Okay. So as soon as you can, and listen, my email list was horrible in the beginning. I sent one whack email to my mother and my wife, and that's it. Right. Over time, people sign up, and then the longer you wait, the more you'll regret it. So anyway, I said website, at least a squeeze page. This page actually doesn't exist from when I made this slide. Abraham Cologne had this. There's no website. It's a squeeze page. There's a video there, and it's basically telling you if you want to get money from your emails, if you want to get money, from traffic, and he's talking about email, watch this video, and then you can you get the email address. You can watch the video, and then he's gonna put you into a funnel where he tries to sell you. There's no blog. There's no services page. There's no nothing. It's just a landing page with a video and then a capture form. Well, button to get to the capture form. So it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need graphics and all the complicated stuff. You can have a landing page like this. All right, what do I got on this slide here? Oh yeah, okay. So nothing wrong with being on Upwork, but you differentiate yourself when you have your own domain. So consider that. My friend Conrad told me he just heard from somebody or was listening to a training with someone who made $50,000 the last 2 years, $50,000 on Upwork, $50,000 per year on Upwork. That's a pretty good salary or whatever you want to call it from Upwork, and not working full-time hours, but just taking a couple clients, working regularly and making money. So it's a good place to be. I don't actually know anything about how to maximize Upwork, so I can't talk to that. But having your own domain gives you an additional factor of professionalism that other people don't have. I just grabbed a screenshot. This is also from a slide from a previous presentation. Rachel Augustine, her LinkedIn page is very specific. You know exactly what she does pretty instantly.
This is actually one of the best copywriters in Nigeria now.
100%.
She's actually 100. Like she's one of the leading copywriters. Yeah, in Nigeria.
Yeah, if you don't know her, get to know her.
Yeah, Rachel is awesome.
The best. So, but you looked at her LinkedIn page, you know exactly what she does instantly. She got the headline here, video script copywriter, but also in the headline. So the headline will impact search results, and it's all optimized. She got $1 million in sales with a little chart there. So it grabs your attention, tells you what she does. It's going to rank high in search, and you can do the same thing, and you should. Now, again, Rachel's been doing this for a while. This is not the first version of her LinkedIn, I'm sure.
Of course not. Of course not.
This is where we want to get to. Positioning. Okay, so that's about the email list. This is something else. I'm, again, being very quick about this. As you begin to develop your business over time, but I mean, you can do it as early as you want to. If you get a tight focus on 1 to 3 core topics, right, that you want to be known for, it's easier to carve out a position in a niche versus I'm a copywriter and I'll write anything for anybody, anytime, anywhere for any fee. You don't want to do that. So I just, increasing sales with storytelling. With Rachel's, she does video sales letters. That's what she does. Yep. So, if I want someone to do my Google ads, it's not going to be her, although she probably does that, but that's not who she's going for. And so you can have 1 to 3 core topics that you want to be known for, and you create content around that will attract clients to you and establish your authority. It's helpful over time if you develop a unique philosophy that makes you stand out as not just a copywriter, but a thought leader and as an expert. People who have a similar philosophy or whose philosophy aligns with yours, they're going to like you better. And then they'll like you better than someone that has a different philosophy. And they'll like you better than someone who they don't know their philosophy. You're now a human being and an expert, not just a person selling copy. And then also over time, if you can develop a proprietary framework, you can talk about that, and that makes you special as well. So anyway, moving forward, I'll share these slides if y'all want these. Sure. Okay, the plan. I'm moving quickly. Again, pick a niche or 2 or 3 where you really want to go deep. Now, again, in the beginning days, you really want to take money from anyone who'll give it to you, and that's okay. Believe me, I did it for years. There's nothing wrong though with picking a niche and intentionally growing there. You will still get opportunities to work for people in other niches. So plant your flag, pick where you want to be. I want to be a email copywriter for, fashion, t-shirt business. Great. You can go and become an expert in that space. Show up as an expert in that space, but that doesn't mean you won't take money from somebody who, sells dog grooming services. You'll do all that. But over time you just pick it that way. Set up your property. So I guess that's planning where you're going to show up. Like I said, setting up your website, even if it's just a simple one, is good. Planning to be on LinkedIn, planning to be on YouTube, whatever you're going to do, plan to be there, and then make a calendar for yourself. How often you're going to show up, how you're going to show up there. We can get into more specifics if you want, but I want to move quickly here. Then promote yourself. Of course, I have a framework that I want to talk about quickly. And it sounds complicated. Is going to expand your thinking of how to get yourself out there. I call it fish, farm, hunt, herd, which I don't know, whatever. It's agricultural. But fishing is really about finding the pond that you want to be in or the lake that you want to be in, and building relationships. You want to build relationships. I say this. You want to build relationships with copywriters because we can support each other. We can sometimes outsource work to each other or make recommendations to each other, but we can also learn from each other. You want to connect with the people who you want to hire you, the people who work at the organizations that you'd like to work with, or the individuals themselves who run the businesses or own the businesses. But also connect with people who can refer you to those people, or people who serve that client in a different way. Graphic designers, for example, web developers, social media marketers, or other things like that. They don't write emails, but if they know you, they can make a referral. They can put you in a position to get that business. So this is something that we don't do, I think, as copywriters often. Building relationships. We need to intentionally spend some time building relationships that may not turn into money today. Now, you want to get paid, right? But that doesn't mean don't create relationships with people who can get you paid long-term over time. All right. So then I just had this example. I said I was going to move fast. This is so weird. This is from 2014, as you see. This guy who owns he's a multimillionaire himself and built a life insurance brokerage. He emailed me. I don't know why LinkedIn won't let me see the email they sent me. But he emailed me simply because he wanted to hire Joe Sugarman and couldn't. He couldn't hire him. And he saw me as the next person connected to him on LinkedIn. I'm local, like he's in the Chicago area where I am. And then he sent me a message. I remember what it said. He said, "Hey, Donnie, I'm looking for a copywriter. Should we talk?" Yeah. This turned into a $50,000 project for me by being connected to someone who didn't pay me. So think about that. And on LinkedIn, being connected, the more people you're connected to, the higher you show up in search, and the more people will see your content, etc. So it's a good idea. All right, let me go in the right direction. Okay, farming, whatever, is really planting seeds through content. So that, posting on LinkedIn, doing the YouTube video, showing up on a podcast, any way that you show up and plant seeds that show that you're an expert, that make you visible in front of the people you want to work with, and tell them you're available to do business. That's farming. Let me see what the next slide is, because this actually happened. I guess it's 3 years ago now, almost 3 years. This guy, I won't make you read the whole thing. He said, "I've been following your YouTube subject line series for a few months now and genuinely love the content." This guy sent me a message on LinkedIn because he watched my YouTube videos, which don't have very many views. None of them are explosively viral or anything. But he watched. I made a series. He showed up. He watched them, and he hired me not to work on subject lines. But I made $20,000 off of this two $10,000 projects with this guy, because he saw the seeds that I planted on YouTube and just showing up consistently, like Maria said, showing up. Now I'm not consistent most of the time on any platform, which is horrible. But during this period of consistency, $20,000 appeared out of nowhere because I was planting the seeds. So this is something. This is how you get your first client? Maybe. This is how you begin to build this business where people come to you versus having to track them down. Now, hunting is actually tracking them down. I don't love cold outreach. Sometimes we got to do it though. It's kind of a numbers game, right? You're going to be rejected or ignored more often than you'll get yeses. But I would encourage you to take time to reach out to targeted client, potential clients who you want to work with. Make them an irresistible kind of offer if you can, and then you keep at it, follow up, and eventually over time you get your message dialed in, get your offer dialed in, and you meet some people. I remember one of my best friends in marketing, I got from cold pitching him. He said, I don't need a copywriter because I write my own copy, but maybe we could partner on something else. And we ended up becoming friends and doing business together, like making money together. So anyway, this is people who you're asking for money for more immediately. So fishing is more like reaching out, connecting with people who you're not going to pitch today. You may pitch them down the line. The hunting is, I need to go out and prospect, see if I can get these people to hire me. So these things are all working together. I'm encouraging you to do all of these, making your life more difficult because you now got to work harder. But diversifying your outreach gives you more opportunities, and these things all feed into each other, give you more opportunities to attract the right people and close them. And herding isn't necessarily how you get your first client. This is about keeping clients once you got them. The best new client is a satisfied old client. And I've had, Maria will tell you the same, clients who pay you a monthly retainer for a long time, and you look at it and you say, I made a whole lot of money off of this client without having to go find new clients. And this is the best situation you could be in until you don't want to work with them anymore, and then you fire them. But you can really build a consistent income if you're able to keep clients. So a lot of times I like to, even on your first client, you can set it up as, I work best in ongoing relationships. I get to know you and your products. You get to know me and my work style. And we're going to get better and better as we work together to build out your marketing system or build out your email program. And then if you set it up that way, you're going to get the client's going to get the best outcome rather than doing nothing, which is what they'll do without you, or having to go find somebody else and start new all over again. You don't have to do that. Just, I'll stick around. I'll get better and better in terms of knowing your business, knowing your offer, knowing what's worked in the past, because I've done it. I've been here for the data. And they benefit and you benefit, and then you make more money. So I think that's all I'm going to go for in the slides right now. But one other thing maybe is what I call the law of unexpected consequences, which says that clients don't actually know what they need. They're going to ask you for, I need 3 emails. And you're going to say, what is the email linked to? Yeah, exactly. Your landing page probably sucks. So why don't we look at that? And now you're working on 3 emails and a landing page or a sales page. How you get people on your email list? Yeah, your lead magnet probably sucks. Your client acquisition process, your funnel sucks. So now you're looking at ads, lead magnets, landing pages for that, email, and the sales page on the other side. So you can land and expand in that way. Even on your first client, I want you to be confident enough to say, I bet there's more here. Don't just take what they give you. You just ask the question. You're not demanding, but okay, I'm cool. I'd love to write these emails for you, but I'm just curious. What are we linking the email to? What is the email? What's the purpose of the email? Oh, we're trying to sell this. Okay, and then you get the link and you look at and you say, oh, well, I can see at least 3 ways to improve that sales page. Why don't we test it? And since I'm doing this with you, I'll give you a discounted price on the sales page. Boom, the project just got bigger, and that's how the professionals do it. We don't just take what they give us. We tell them how to get more value from us. We get paid more, but they're getting paid, or they're benefiting even more than they're paying us. The more work we can do for them, the more we can help them optimize their funnel. All right. That's all I'm saying for now. I will make this available so you can have my slides if you like. I'll get with Gideon about that.
Right. Now, At this stage, it's like I should just shut down the stream and then just go and work on my appearance. Just show up because the strategies you just shared right now are they are crazy. I mean, they are practical strategies. I don't know. Mario just said something that it proves the importance of showing up and this the fact that you don't even need to add millions of followers to land your first client.
If just on that, like I said, I did 101 at the beginning, 101 subject line videos. I'm pretty sure I got that email before I was done. So I was in the 60 or 70 video range, and maybe 3 of them had more than 1,000 views, and none of them had more than 3,000 views. Most of them had less than 500 views. But the one view that mattered is the guy who had $20,000 to give me. You don't need millions. You just need one person with $1 million, or one person with $10,000 who needs help. So yeah, we get caught up in the wrong thing. I was celebrating. I just crossed 1,000. Thank you partially to your help, Gideon. 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. That's something to celebrate. But I'm not getting paid by YouTube. I'm getting paid by people who watch my videos on YouTube, and that's more valuable. Even the people who make money, not so much Mr. Beast, but most people who make money on YouTube, they make the majority of their money on the things that they sell on YouTube, not from the YouTube partner program, which pays them. Like Roberto Blake says, the partner program just pays my taxes. He makes $300,000 a year selling coaching, selling products, and getting speaking gigs through it. So it's about showing up. Yeah, bringing your expertise, whatever that is, and you're going to get better as you go. I think, I started making YouTube videos in like 2014. Wow, it's been 10 years. And they were trash. And they were inconsistent. And I look back and I say, oh boy, I did one. This is so goofy. I'm going to shut up. I did one in the bathroom. See, we're talking about bathroom a lot today. But I had this weird idea. I was in the bathroom and I had the lights off and I had a flashlight in my face. And I said, are you playing the flashlight game with your clients? That's creepy now that I say it out loud. You're playing the flashlight game with your clients. But the idea was, if you shine the light on something important that they maybe didn't see, you have an opportunity to help. Terrible video. It probably has 18 views today at 10 years later. But again, once you get going, you find your lane, you find your voice, and the only way you're going to get better is to go through the process. If you wait until you're perfect to start, guess what? It'll be 2040 and you won't have started yet. Just get to going. Like, I still don't have polished videos. I grab my phone and just record whatever. But it works. People don't need all that. I'm not Mr. Beast, and I don't plan to be anytime soon.
I love the fact that you're talking about YouTube, because I could remember Mario was the one that encouraged me to go for YouTube channels, start uploading videos.
Yeah.
And since we started the stream, that was last weekend to now, I think I have like about 50 subscribers or so. And it's a really good job on my part for me. And it's boils down to the fact that, like you mentioned, collaborating with other copywriters. If Mario hadn't given me the push, probably I'll just be somewhere doing the content and then stop. And then I also love the fact that you leverage the aspect of LinkedIn. A lot of people, especially we in Nigeria, we don't really know the effect of LinkedIn, as it's where you're still the Facebook. I'm not saying you cannot get clients on Facebook and everything, but I think LinkedIn is more like a professional place, don't you think?
I think Facebook is a good place to connect with people, and you can still. I'm on Facebook too. I really have a mostly hate relationship with Facebook, but you might as well be there. And part of your farming, part of your fishing can happen on Facebook, and actually your hunting can as well. So I just mentioned LinkedIn because LinkedIn has been the most profitable for me, and it's actually like accelerating in that way. I think this is a great time for anyone, Nigeria or around the world. Check out LinkedIn, and it's not as stuffy as maybe people think. You can still show up on there with your puppy. Talk about it's a cool place to be, but that's where people are there to do business and to interact with business people and business minded people. Whereas Facebook, people are there to complain about politics and show off their workout. You know what I'm saying? They show up and they're sweaty and they're like, nobody wants to see that, bro. Nobody wants to see that at all. Not the men, not the women. Nobody wants to see that. But you showing off. And guess what? If you're feeling yourself, that's cool. Keep that energy. But it's not, unless you're a personal trainer, you're probably not getting clients from that. But we can show up anywhere, everywhere, and put our expertise on display. And so Facebook is a great place to do. I just like LinkedIn because it's professionally minded, business minded.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mario, do you have anything to probably add to? I think you're muted,
She
Mario.
got slides too. We're gonna be here.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, you could also probably add to what Donnie said if you have some slides to share. No.
No, I don't have any slides this time. No slides. I will have to go at the top of the hour. I totally forgot I had a meeting. But anyway, we'll wait on that. So just a couple of things. I want to remind everyone, I think, oftentimes, our industry is so focused on the numbers. And so that's why I left that comment in the chat area when Donnie was sharing how the gentleman said, like, I've seen your email subject line video series on YouTube. And then that led to a $20,000 gig. It is so, so, so important that we understand the internet is global. So although you may only see 10 views, you may only see 30, 40, maybe a couple of hundred views on those videos, you have no idea where those views are coming from. You have no idea who's on the other side of that screen. You may be, a CEO of a major company may be watching your content. And so I can personally attest to the fact that one of my most recent clients that I've been working with now since the latter part of last year, part of the reason why they decided to work with us is because of the YouTube channel. Even though the YouTube channel doesn't have a ton of views yet, and I'm right under 600 subscribers. So again, y'all, I need y'all to go ahead and push your girl on up a little bit more, subscribe to the YouTube channel. But literally the client looked at the YouTube channel and watched a few videos and said, yeah, this is somebody who knows what she's talking about. I want to work with this company. And so here we are now, over 20 something $1,000 in business as of December of last year to present. So it's so important that, again, show up. Like, you just got to show up, man. You got to show up. Leave all that pride and all of that aside. Show up, deliver value. Make sure that you present yourself as the authority figure. Don't be nervous thinking like, oh, well, I haven't done this enough. So long as you have read Donnie's book, you've read Words Are Wealth, you've done more than most people will ever do in their lives, right? And so you are an expert to somebody. You're an expert. So you've got to own that authority, share your insights and tips on a platform like YouTube. I think the reason why I love YouTube is because YouTube integrates very well with TVs. So even when I'm at home, I watch YouTube as if it's a television channel. So honestly, I push a lot of people to use YouTube. YouTube is powerful. Another platform that I personally love, and I got like 2 or 3 leads over the past week off of this platform, is Facebook groups. Facebook groups are really valuable. And now obviously it depends on what group you're joining, right? So you've got to join groups that are targeting entrepreneurs in particular. Now, if you can find one that is an entrepreneur in your niche, or for entrepreneurs in your niche, that's even better. So definitely join Facebook groups, and don't just rush in there trying to get people to sign up, to work with you. You've got to build a rapport. You've got to deliver some value. Go in there and comment on posts and give great feedback. Go in there and compliment someone for something that they've done, a really good job on. Like, go in there and be a value add. Don't go in there just seeking to grab the value, suck the value out of the group and then leave. That's horrible. It's a horrible thing to do. So with that being said, honestly, Gideon, I would like to see if anybody has questions, because I do have to go at the top of the hour. So I do see one question from Kalechi. Is it possible to get a template for copywriting? Yeah, there are tons of email templates. We have email templates over at opensquickscash.com. Yeah, you can absolutely get, there are templates for even landing pages. I've seen people sell templates for that. So yeah, there are templates everywhere.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Awesome. At this point, we can probably take in some few questions as
Yeah.
well. Some
Yeah.
few questions. We have done a lot, shared a lot so far. So if you have questions,
Let me
you
show y'all something.
um
This is to me is hilarious. Can I one thing?
okay,
La, la, la,
right.
la.
So, so
Look at that.
um I think I have a question here. Although
Mhm.
the person that put it in the group, that is asking. Um, I think he was talking about transitioning, how to transition from a content to actually asking for the sale, like ju- how to make sure your content is flowing well, and then to the point where you now transition to the sale. A lot of people think writing emails are not supposed to be salesy, like your emails are not supposed to be salesy. You have to sell without selling. So I think this question is coming from the angle of how do you transition to the point when you want to make the buyer or where you want to ask for the sale. Yeah,
I mean,
Mario.
that's the point of the call. And we are speaking specifically about email, right? Not a YouTube video.
Yes.
So, I mean, honestly, that is the point of the email has a direct call to action. And so, in terms of how do you make that transition, I feel like, I
Okay.
mean, it's literally just, I don't want to do this again, but just do it. You literally, you write the copy, and when you get to the end, you can say something like, "Hey, if you've enjoyed this, click here to learn more," or if you like this shirt in this picture above, click here to buy the shirt. I mean, you literally just write it. You just write, do the thing, like do it. So honestly, I don't know if I understand the question
Right.
very well, or maybe my brain. This is like I've been doing this for so long now. I can't even remember how to
Right.
explain it.
Going
But
backwards.
honey, I'm curious to know your response to that
Yeah.
question.
I think
Right, Donnie.
it depends on. I mean, your answer is correct, of course. There's many times we're going to write about the dogs fighting, and then it's like you kind of come to a lesson, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes your worst enemy is right in your face, and the best way to deal with that is buying such and such, and
yeah,
you just basically pivot right at that point. You get to the moral of the story that you lead to, or that you
yes,
used to lead in the email. The moral of the story is email is the best thing for you to do, and the best way for you to make email work for you is to go get some templates from Opens Clicks Cash. I got to get back in the rhythm of saying Opens Clicks.
I know of the challenges also of OpenSlate's cash. Just
It
to
takes a second to make it flow. But you can pivot right at that point. Set up the story, get to the moral of the story, or like a point of where something has to happen, right? And then you tell them how to make the thing that needs to happen.
okay.
You can do it right like that. The other thing that's true is that over the course of time when you're sending emails, sometimes you're going to send a direct pitch email where there's no transition. The whole email is telling you about a product or service that you need to take advantage of. And so
yeah,
there's not really a transition. You may have an opener that doesn't say, "Hey, by the way, I'm here to talk to you about the product I want to sell." You say, whatever the opening is it's like email marketing has the highest ROI of any marketing channel that there is. And so I
yeah,
want to tell you about this product or this course that teaches you how to do it, or what have you. So there doesn't have to be a
Right.
transition. So I think there's exactly that. You just do it. Yeah, it's we overthink things.
yeah,
It's not as deep as we may think. People have asked me that many times. What's the best call to action you can do? Well, the call to action is less important than getting to the point where where you can make the call to action. If you've got someone
Right.
to read the email because they're interested in what you're talking about, and they're feeling the feelings you want them to feel, they're seeing the need that you're showing them, the call to action should be kind of obvious to them. It's like, okay, I want to take action. How do I do it? And so we got to work on that.
Right.
Our emails are, again, we're going through the reps of figuring out what really gets people to take action, which is part of the reason why being in a niche is helpful, because you get to know an audience. What do they respond to? What works for them? What doesn't work for them? And again, working long term for a client, I tested this, I tested this, I tested this. and we see, okay, B works better than C, and C works better than A, and so you get to know. But really, it's like I said, I don't think it's like a science to cause the action. I don't think so. There's little things you can do, say if you change the wording a little bit, it makes a little bit of a difference. You'll see with large sample sizes, you'll see difference in click through rate, but
Yeah.
that's usually a small percentage. And the transition part is, like I said, it's really just switching gears. And we need, if you make it weird, then it's weird. But if like it's like, oh, okay, we got to the point of the story where now you need to take action and just flow with it. I think it's probably a lot easier than we think.
I love advertorial.
A question here. Writing an advertorial, what are the procedures to follow in order not to fall into the pit of sales pitches when writing advertorials? Does anyone of you want to take that?
I'm not sure exactly what you meaning, to make the whole thing sound like a sales pitch. You had to qualify that.
I think
in order and others not to fall into the pit of sales pitches. Well, I mean, the whole point of it is to sell something, but honestly, for us, I actually love writing advertorials, by the way. I mean, it's just telling the story. Again, like storytelling always wins. Honestly, it just wins. You tell the story about how, somebody faced some sort of challenge, and then this product or service, help them overcome the challenge. And then the call to action is, if you want to overcome the same challenge, click here. I mean, honestly, it's you just share a story, and then you encourage them to go ahead and make a purchase. That's our approach.
Yeah. And I'll say this also. There's not, I hate that there's not a one size fits all answer to these things. But depending on if your advertorial is going directly to a product page to sell something versus going to, say, a landing page where people opt in to get a report or something, there's different amounts of selling that you kind of want to do at the end. How complete is the information that you want to give in the advertorial? So sometimes you might need a little bit of a sales pitch at the end, depending. Like if you're going to a product page, you probably don't want to like just say, hey, buy this. Maybe, depending on what the product is. But they may tell them a little bit about why when they click over, they're going to see the answer to their prayers. And then when they get there, they're in the right frame of mind to, okay, it's time to buy. But if you say, you tell the story, this person overcame it, here's how they did it, and you go right to the product page with no additional context, there's a little bit of a disconnect. And so it kind of depends on what the goal of the advertorial is, or what the whole sequence of events is that the advertorial is a part of. Selling isn't that bad. It's not. If we were writing for a client, first of all, try Claude for real. Try it. It's good. Tell it exactly what you want in terms of structure, and then tell it to be conversational. And it'll sound like an article that you would hear in whatever magazine you like. You can actually say, I want it to sound like it's in this magazine or on this website, and it can replicate that. Well, Claude, unless you pay for it, doesn't want to access the internet, but you can kind of tell it what you want. Anyway, and then I don't remember what my point was. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Depending on what your client wants, find out what your client wants. How much are we selling? The advertorials that I was writing last week, they said, don't pitch, just nudge people into the product. And I didn't pitch. I just said, by the way, this is a great product you can buy. And they didn't like it. They sent it back to me like, we need to sell more. I don't know what you want. You know what I'm saying? But you got to know what the client wants. And they want to sell a little bit more. Yeah. So I put a little bit more information about the product and how it's superior to the competitors, sent it over, and then they're happy. So you got to know what the client wants to.
Right. So I think I'm gonna give this question to Donnie because Maria has to go in the next few minutes. We are done now. But I think this should be the final question, if not, or the second to the last question. So someone is asking, Christian is asking, what is the difference between a landing page and an email? I don't know if I got that right.
Maria, do you have a second you want to answer?
What is the okay? So the difference between a landing page and email. Well, so okay. I don't know specifically what this question is asking, like the difference in terms of like technically. So I'll start there. So a landing page it lives on the website. On the internet. A landing page lives on the internet. It's basically like a one-page website And the sole intent of the landing page is to sell something. Email is delivered directly to a contact's inbox, their email inbox. So the goal of email is, of course, it can be to sell something. It can be to build rapport. It's to nurture your leads. It really follows your contacts in every stage of the sales cycle, from nurturing or from acquiring, nurturing, um, and retaining them once they have become a paid customer. So that's the difference between a landing page and an email. From a technical standpoint, a landing page lives on the internet. It has one goal, and that goal is to sell something. Email lives in the inbox of your contacts, and it actually follows them through every single step of the sales journey. That's the biggest difference between the two.
That's a good answer. By the way, I
Right.
think there's lack of clarity about what some people mean by landing page. Your
Yeah.
definition, of course, is correct, but a lot of people will say landing page, and what they really mean is sales page.
Yeah.
They're like, I want a
Yeah.
landing page. Clients will do that to you. I want a landing page, and you say, okay, cool. It's going to be $500, and they're like, how come it's only one page? Because you said landing page. Oh, I really wanted to do a video sales, and then you're like, well, you didn't use the right terminology. So when clients say, I need a landing page, ask them what they mean. Tell me exactly what you're looking for. Give me an example of something else that you want to kind of mimic, because
Yeah.
there's not clarity about the terminology.
Right. There's another question here. As a newbie in copyright and trying to win your first clients, how do you go about it, especially when you don't have previous works to show? Right.
So
Mario, you can. Yeah.
what you want to do is you want to, yeah, it's a couple of approaches for this one. So one, you do need to like build your writing muscle, right? So you need to write something, whether you're writing for yourself or if you're writing for a dream client. Like, let's say that you want to work with Donnie, and you're like, Donnie, I can write your emails for you so that you can focus on writing emails for your clients, right? So what you would want to do is look at Donnie's current writing style and literally write some emails for him and send them to him as a pitch. Like, hey, I've already written these 3 welcome emails based on what I've seen from your current welcome sequence. You know, it looks like these are some gaps that I can fill. Are you interested in moving forward? Or feel free to use these emails, and if you like them, then let's move forward. So there are a number of ways that you can approach this. My suggestion is that you do have to have your writing muscle like flowing. You got to strengthen that writing muscle. The only way to do that is to keep writing. And you can, again, imagine that you're already working for the client that you want to work for. Another thing, and I mentioned this back in January when we met, is go ahead and start working with companies in your backyard. I mean, if there are, I'm sure there are plenty of companies in Nigeria. I don't know where you are specifically, Kalechi, but if you're in Niger, then I'm sure that there are plenty of small businesses that can benefit from your skills. And so you can literally approach them and say, hey, you're a startup. I'm in a sense a startup as well. How about we work together and I can work with you on a profit share agreement, meaning you don't have to pay me any money up front, but if these emails generate sales for you, then we'll split the profit, whatever percentage you want to present to them. So the biggest thing is to make sure you flex that writing muscle. You have got to write, and you've got to write a lot, because the more you write, the better you become at it. So just start writing a lot.
No way around that.
No.
No, wait. I was just going to say something to your first answer, your first response.
Mhm.
I actually used that technique you mentioned earlier on to land the clients on LinkedIn from Canada. The guy obviously is a sales strategist on LinkedIn. He writes a lot of content about sales, how to structure
Yeah.
for founders, actually for startup founders. So I worked into his DM. Hey, how you doing? I love what you do. I gathered some of your content together, looked at your website, prepare some pages, sales, emails, welcome emails, and if you like it, you can just let me know. And then the guy responded like 2 or 3 days later, and then wow, he fell in love with it, and then the deal was closed. So I actually agree with the aspect of you working to them, saying that they are busy professionals. You can just handle your clients, let me handle your emails for you. That works 100.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to agree with that too. I rarely have done the free thing, but you're strategically doing it. I got a client, a really well-known internet marketing person who I won't mention. We got into a long-term relationship over based on. I mean, we were connected, but we didn't know each other. And then they were doing an event. I rewrote the whole sales page, which is probably a bigger project than I should have taken on. But he said, "This is really good. If you had tried to," he actually said it to me, "If you try to approach me any other way, it wouldn't have worked. But because you showed up with this thing, uh, I'm down." And then we started working together. So it's a great strategy when you're getting started. You don't want to spend all your time giving everything away for free. Everybody pick somebody who you really believe you can deliver for. I know their topic, or I know their voice, I know their audience, and I can write really great copy for them. Then didn't do it, and then send it over as hey, proof. I know how I can help you, and this is proof that I can do so. And then follow up with them if they don't get right back with you. I think that's a great point. I mean, I know it is.
Right. Thank you so much. I think the last question, Maria's answered the last question. The guy asking, Daniel was asking about, I don't want to build an email list full of other copywriters. How do I position emails or newsletters to attract clients? Yeah. So I think, Donnie, if you have anything to add to that.
Sure.
I'm going to leave, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you again, you all. Follow me on YouTube, folks. At work.
All right. Y'all want to do that.
All right. Bye, guys.
Right. Yeah.
I want to answer the last question too. Just add a little bit of briefly something to it.
Right.
We were talking before about writing for your friends. If you want to get samples and you have friends who are doing anything marketing wise, business wise, or they're writing business stuff for their client, you can write, and that will give you an opportunity to write some things that you can have in your portfolio or your samples. The other thing that you can do, if you find clients, and I kind of mentioned this last week, e-commerce, a lot of e-commerce stores don't do anything with email. They have 10,000, 50,000 people on their email list, and they don't send anything. And so if you can connect with those people, anything that you do will be better than the nothing that they're doing. And so a lot of times you can get their attention by saying, "Hey, I noticed you never send emails. What's up with that?" And if you can get into a relationship and a conversation with them, opens the door. And like, okay, e-commerce, again, is not usually super long, super complex emails. You're just really introducing a product, talking about back in stock or, almost out of stock. Those emails can be pretty short. But you're taking something off of the client's plate where they're not getting any value from their list, and you can show up and help them extract more profit from them. And so that lowers the bar in terms of what my level of expertise has to be. It doesn't have to be great to start with some of these clients they're not sending anything, and they don't need to send something super complicated. I didn't answer the other question. So what was Daniel's question again?
Daniel's question was, he was saying, let me get Daniel's question. Okay. Okay, Daniel was asking about the email thing. Okay, let me check it.
Yeah. He said he didn't want to build
email list.
So really, what you want to do is position the newsletter and the free giveaway thing, your lead magnet, as a solution for someone else, like for another niche. For example, whoever your client is. I had clicked an ad earlier for how to triple your business as an auto mechanic, car mechanic. Okay, so if your lead magnet is how to get more clients for your car shop. Copywriters aren't going to sign up for that. The people who will sign up for it is the people you call out. My newsletter is specifically for how mechanics can improve their marketing, more profit from their current clients and less irritation with the people working for them. You've told them who it's for, and so you're going to attract who you position yourself as serving. So for me, like, I got a lot of copywriters on my list because I talk about copywriting. And then when I've said it before, like, there's only so many clients I can get from this because copywriters aren't going to write me to write their copy. I want entrepreneurs, but I've never positioned my newsletter that way. And so most of my subscribers are copywriters, and that's fine because right now I'm not really selling anything to my email list. and I'm not emailing often enough anyway. So anyway, it just depends on how you set it up. If you decide who you want to attract, who you want to work with, and then you position your newsletter that way and create a lead magnet and content that speaks directly to that audience, and then you won't have to
Right.
worry about copywriters. Copywriters are not going
Yeah.
to sign up for something that's in that other niche.
Right. That's a great one there. Elumi Divine is asking, Danny, what's the fastest way to learn email copywriting? Do you have any organized approach to study and get good at writing emails? Truth is, just subscribing to emails and learning is confusing.
Yeah, well, yes, it is, but the the truth of the truth is that's kind of how there's two ways to learn. Well, there's three ways to learn maybe. One of them is what you described, subscribing and watching. Now, if you subscribe to 20 lists, you will be overwhelmed by it. It may make sense to pick the very top person who you want to learn
Right.
from and just watch them for a while until you really get an understanding of how they do it. And then you can add somebody else in. But you have to watch the whole process, because a lot of times when you come in on different lead magnets, you get different things. You just click on different links, you get different things. So ease your way into that. And if you've already signed up for 20 people, you can unsubscribe and resubscribe later. That doesn't really tell you why they do what they do, but it tells you what they're doing. And then everyone kind of not everyone will market the same way. But like I said, if you pick the top person that you want to learn from and see what they do, that gives you a foundation. So it's frustrating, confusing, but it's a great way to learn what's happening and working in the real world. A lot of times we'll buy a course or a book, or you find something for free online, and if it's 2 years old or 4 years old, some of the principles may be accurate, but some of them may be outdated. Some of them may be wrong. So that's one reason why you kind of got to stay subscribed to the list of people in your niche or your industry to see what's happening in real time from the best, because these people are testing as they go and they're adjusting as they go. So what they're doing right now is probably the most effective strategy
Right.
tactics right now. Here's what I would say. I think the fastest way to learn is to pick something very specific. Like, if there's different kinds of email copywriting too. Like, a welcome sequence is its own thing. It's distinct from other kinds of email. Broadcast emails, which whatever people send out weekly or daily, those are different as well. And
Yeah.
there's like launch sequences and there's abandoned cart sequences. You had to like take it one bite at a time. And I'll tell you, like, I feel like I'm one of the top email copywriters on the planet. It sounds braggadocious when I say that, but I feel like it's true. But there wasn't a fast way for me to do it. Like, you just pick something and learn it. And I think what you want to do in terms of speed is, if you pick something that, like, welcome sequences, and you say, I really want to learn welcome sequences, you can learn that fast, because you can buy a specific product about that. I need to re-release a product on welcome sequences, because I've seen a lot people doing email sequences wrong or welcome sequences wrong, and I've seen them done right. Anyway, but you can focus, and then you can learn one thing really fast. If you try to say, I want to learn all of copywriting, it's too big to learn everything fast. If you want to learn all of email copywriting, I still think it's a little bit much to learn everything fast. But if you say, I'm going to really learn launch sequences, like how do you launch a product, or how do you do launch copy? Great. Launch emails is a very specific thing. You can find a specific course about that, or you don't have to buy courses, but you can find a specific training on that or information about that. And then you can also go and find somebody who's launching a product and see how they do it. There's always somebody launching. And then when you get what they send, you analyze in your own mind and maybe have a conversation with other copywriters.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Why are they doing this? How are you seeing this? And maybe everyone putting their thinking together, you begin to understand why launches happen the way they do. But again, if you get a training on it, hopefully you can find something that doesn't cost a fortune. But if you can find training, that gives you kind of a structure, and then you see it happen in real life, and then you learn and take notes, and then you just do it a couple of times, and you'll feel a high level of confidence that you understand it. Then you had to go and practice doing it, because watching it and understanding it is not the same as doing it. But you can launch your own thing, and you can just copy what somebody else did, even if you don't have a client. If I were going to launch Donnie's water bottles, here's how I would do it. And then you just copy the way somebody else did it. But think about how you would do it for yourself. And then, like we've been saying, the more times you do it, you really get a feel for it. And then when you actually start to put it out in the real world and see how it performs, you see kind of things that work and don't work. You don't know anything the first time you do it. None of us do. You learn over time, okay, this thing or something may work. And then the next time you do it, it doesn't work. What's up with that? The only way you know is by trying. So that's a long answer. I would say pick something specific that you want to do.
Right.
You feel like
Yes.
for you, the opportunity for me is welcome sequences, or the opportunity for me is I want to learn how to do like with e-commerce. I want to learn how to do the abandoned cart sequences that capture lost money. You can learn that pretty quickly. It's not that particular kind of email. It's 1 to 3 emails. You can learn that pretty quickly how to do that, and then you can offer that as a service to people who don't have it and start making money from it pretty quickly. So I would say that pick something specific, learn that, and then expand from there.
Right. Okay. We just we have about 2 more questions to go. Also, Balaji is asking, how can I unlock success and opportunities? I'm a content writer for a Web3 product. So I think his question is related to Web3, how to get opportunities in the web.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's
Web3
a tough.
Like last year, maybe it was 2022. Web3 was the hottest thing. Everyone was talking about Web3, and obviously it's still there, but the conversation has shifted to artificial intelligence more than blockchain, Web3, or anything. It's really to artificial intelligence. Consider shifting. Consider if you want to attach yourself or become to participate in the hottest topic, what Web3 was 2 years ago. Start talking about artificial intelligence or writing content about that, seeking out people who want content about that. The problem with AI, I suppose, is though a lot of people who want to write about AI are using AI to do it, which is weird. But consider that. Just consider it. The other thing is, I would say this: the number of places where there's like authority sites on Web3 is limited. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not like an infinite number. Like copywriting, there's 1 trillion copywriting sites, but you could do guest posts on Web3 if you feel like you have some expertise level thoughts and insights to share, or it's just a unique angle, unique perspective on Web3. This is something that worked extraordinarily well for me. Is writing guest posts on authority sites. Does that get you clients? Well, for a content writer, maybe not, but it positions you to say, hey, I wrote for this site. I'm featured over there. Now you've got a badge of authority that says I'm not like most Web3 writers or most writers at all. I've been featured on this site, or I'm regularly, especially if you can get into a regular once a month, I contribute to this site. Now you're a columnist on this site. Hopefully you can get paid for doing that. But even if you can't, you're building authority. Hopefully you get some backlinks to your site or whatever as well. And that's a good way to position yourself as an authority in that space. So then when you go out to pitch other companies, they can't deny that. Most people are not writing for that website or those websites. And I used to do it a lot. I was not very targeted. Anywhere I could get guest posts, I would do it. And then over time, you find out this really isn't producing anything for me. It's not really generating leads for me, or I kind of already got the authority that I'm going to get for having written for these sites. And you focus on the core things. But one thing in particular, I did guest posting for. I got a client almost every time I did it, but it was for it was for copywriters, but non-copywriters read it a lot, and people would reach out, and I got clients almost every time I did it. So you can look for opportunities to be where Web3 companies are,
Yep.
and connect with those people and create content that those people will see. So I don't really know what Web3 businesses are looking for these days, but I would do that. Position yourself as an expert by writing for a couple of these sites, and then when you reach out, connecting with Web3 businesses that you feel like you want to write for, if that's what you want to continue to do, then you can always say, hey, I've written over here, and I'd love to write, help you build out your content platform on this site. And so that way, again, you're differentiated from everybody else.
Okay, that was well said. We have one from Elumedi. Okay, Elumedi Divine is also asking, when a client says you should construct email sequences, I think that's email sequences. Where do I get to start from? It's kind of tough at this point for me.
Sure.
So when it comes to email sequences, what's the format? What's the flow?
Yeah. This is another one of those where it's helpful to ask more questions. And maybe you got more information than you put in the question, and that's okay, because you don't necessarily want the comment to be the whole story. But a lot of times clients they have something in mind with what they want, and so we can talk about how to structure it, but start with that part. I actually got an inquiry from a potential client yesterday or the day before, and she came to me and said, hey, I want a 5 to 6 email sequence for this. You told me what you want. Now, I don't think she's correct. I said to her, well, what's your strategy? What are you trying to accomplish? And why do you think 5 to 6 emails is right? I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm not criticizing her thinking, but I need to know what she's thinking so that I can make sure we're doing the right thing, the thing that's going to get her the result that she wants. And the same thing is true for you, asking questions to see, first of all, what is it that you envision me giving you? And secondly, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? And then when you merge those two, the most important thing, especially early on, is giving them what they want. Ultimately, like over long term, you want to give them what they need, but that's once you feel really confident that you know what's best, and you can back it up with experience. I've worked with 8 other companies doing this very same thing, and every time 6 emails is the right number. If you do more, people unsubscribe. That's not actually true, but if I do less, you miss out on money. But in the beginning, when you don't really have experience, to say that from a place of confidence, although you could say, Donnie told me, but don't say Donnie, they don't know me. But, my mentor who's done $100 million in sales, more than that, says that 5 emails is don't do 1 email in the or 2 email sequence or 3 email sequence. Do a 5 email or 7 email sequence. And if you want to borrow confidence from someone else, as long as you can speak with confidence, you can maybe prescribe what they should do. But really early on, the easiest thing is to say, what do you have in mind? What do you envision? Or who have you seen do this, who you would like to have something like what they're doing? If I could have what Beachbody, if they even still exist, if I could have what they have, I'll be happy. And then the client tells you. And now you go say, okay, I want to see what Beachbody does. And sometimes they even have that. I've had clients hand me, here's what Mind Valley did. And I just want to do what they did. Okay, great. I know exactly what they did. You showed me what they did. And now I just got to write the emails that are about your product, but in the same way that Mind Valley did, or whatever the example they give you. So anyway, that's all kind of generic, high level thing. I'll say this.
I'll take one more question.
I have a little bit more thought on that. Depending on the kind of sequence or the kind of thing that they're trying to do with the sequence, you generally want to do it like this. Well, it also depends on what they're selling. But I like to do like 2 or 3 emails that are almost pure curiosity. I guess if you're doing like a welcome sequence, you don't want to do that. But like in the beginning, like get people excited. Don't tell them the whole story. Link them to something. And then as you go a little bit deeper into the sequence, like if you're doing a sales sequence with a sales letter or a video sales letter, then you can, but the first 2 emails can be short and high curiosity, first 2 or 3. And then 3 to 5, you're going to do like real selling. You tell talk about the problems that it solves. You talk about the uniqueness of the solution. You talk about the severity of the problem. You could talk about frequently asked questions that people have that now you're answering the question. So a lot of times I'll do that, like the frequently asked, like email 5. And then the last few are really urgency. Talk about the deadline, talk about the bonuses that are going away, talk about testimonials of people who are glad that they took action on the thing. And then so 5 to 7 emails, most sequences shouldn't be shorter than 5 emails. Sequences can be up to 20. Sometimes we've done a lot longer than that, depending on what you're trying to do. So anyway, I don't know the situation specifically, but hopefully that's helpful for what we got so far. Okay,
Right.
Yusuf. How many
Yusuf says, I was asking, how many emails are recommended for follow-up? I think that this has to do with cold emailing. Right.
Cold email. Okay. I would. Here's the thing. I recommend no fewer than 3. At some point, you become like a nuisance. Like, why do you keep emailing me? But if it's someone you really want to work with, and it's someone you really believe you can help, and you can come up with interesting things to say, I would say email them until they tell you to leave them alone, or until you know for sure that they're not gonna pay attention to you. But here's a switch up on that. A lot of times, if you do a cold pitch and you get ignored, and you send a follow up 3 days, 5 days later, and then you do another one, you can drop them into another kind of follow-up sequence, which is like a value sequence. Rather than pitching them, now I'm going to send you my newsletter. Like they didn't ask to be on your regular email newsletter, but like if you have like here's an article that I saw that I believe would help you, or here's a report that I wrote that pertains to your business, and then treat them like you're trying to serve them rather than trying to pitch them. And sometimes that will, over time, people say, well, you keep showing up, keep sharing valuable, interesting stuff with me. And if you can automate that, so you're not spending 5 hours a week for someone who isn't paying you, but just quickly, I know a bunch of things I can share with this individual or these individuals. There's 20 people. I'm going to give them all the same thing. Then you can scale that out as much as you want. And you drop, like I said, if you stop pitching directly, where you become a nuisance after 3 emails or maybe 5 emails. I really think 3 emails. If they haven't responded by 3, you're gonna start bugging them. They say, "Well, take a hint," but then you can start sending them value emails where you don't pitch at all, and hopefully start like a relationship. And even if it's not like a friendship necessarily, but they recognize you. You can comment on there, post on LinkedIn, and then like I'm in your sphere, I'm in your space. And they recognize you. And then when they need a copywriter, the first person they think of might be you. So I would recommend that if you can find a way to add value. So like I said, 3 emails in total. So like your first cold email and then 2 follow-ups.
Yes.
Maybe 3 if you want to push it. Or if you're doing something like funny, butt dialed you, sorry. but after that, do value. If you feel like there really is something here that I can help them with and I want to work with them, spend a little time, 6 months, sending them value stuff like once a week. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Maya also mentioned this during our call last weekend or in one of her videos. She said she really stops bothering the clients, in quotes, when the client evidently says, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So you're sending a cold email and the guy says, hey, stop sending me this emails. I'm not interested. You just have to not make it pushy, and you just have to take it slow with them.
I had one guy who I had emailed him. I bought his book and I said, hey, I bought your book. I'm excited to read it. Oh, cool. Let me know what you think. And then I started reading and I said, oh, this is really great. Oh, I'm glad you like it. And then I sent him one and I said, you know what? I see that you're not sending emails out. Maybe you need some help. And he emailed me and said unsubscribe. Well, you're not subscribed. I'm just sending you a message. So it doesn't always go the way that you want. But yeah, you can always, follow people, until they decide to opt out manually, like leave me alone. But I had one person I was reaching out to. This is like within the last year. We have someone in house who writes our emails. And then I said, oh, great. That's really cool. Your emails are not great, by the way. But I didn't say that. But I said, here's still some ideas. You guys are not doing these. So, add stories. You're not telling any stories, whatever. And then, by the way, I also do training on this. If your team ever needs someone, you can get help without hiring me in-house. And they still ignored that. But I didn't follow up much longer after that. What I'm saying is this: even when somebody presents some obstacles, sometimes there's still a way that you can, like, fine, that's great. You don't want to hire me, but you still could use this information. And again, cold email or cold outreach is always a numbers game. It's always going to be more no's than yeses. But
Yeah.
look for ways. I think look for ways to give yourself the most chances. And like I said, or like Maria said, that might be, yeah, I'm just going to email you every week and tell me to leave you alone. And if you'll find over time, there are some people who will say, you know what, I'm finally going to respond. So, you got to figure out how to fit all of that into your overall work week. Fridays, I'm going to reach out to everybody or whatever. But as part of your hunting, to use my framework, yeah, you should, like I said, at least 3. I don't know. Like I said, for me, I feel like I don't want to harass people, because for me, at this place in my career, like, I don't want to come across as desperate. If you're early on, maybe you don't care. Like, I just need you to pay me. And so it doesn't matter as much to you. I've been, like I said, I've been in places where my ego was too much, and I'm not asking for money. That's a wrong way of thinking. It's the wrong way of thinking. So right now, it's like there's a balance. I'm okay with asking for money. I'm not going to keep asking for money though. But for sometimes you might be in a situation, or like I said, with somebody who I know I can help you. You're a dream client of mine. I'm not going to give up after 3 emails. Anyway, I've been rambling for a long time about that. Feel free to, don't do less than 3, unless they told you no right away. But 3 is a good place.
I'm gonna take one more last question. This is the last question. From Divine again. He says, he's asking, what's the fastest way to turn strangers into loyal customers through emails?
Well, thank you for being engaged, by the way. I appreciate you asked a couple questions. We appreciate that.
Yes,
the fastest, here, watch this. The fastest way of doing, creating fans or creating people who will become customers is really it starts before your first email. You really want, like we're kind of talking about before, creating a lead magnet. I'm assuming you're talking about on your email list. Creating a lead magnet that's very targeted, so that people already kind of see you're really an expert. You're really an expert on my specific problem, something that I need fixed in my life. And you're different from what other people are saying. So a lot of people how to be the best copywriter in the world. That's great. But you how to be the best email copywriter in the world. That's better. How to be the best launch email copywriter in the world. Even better. How to be the best launch email copywriter in Nigeria. Oh, I know the other people out here. You're going to tell me how to beat these guys? Spectacular. I want to do that. How to be the best email launch email copywriter in Lagos.
Yeah.
I can feel it. I can see it. I actually could believe it could be mine. And so anyway, you don't have to do it exactly like that, but you see what I'm saying? You're drilling into something very specific, very tangible, very relevant to the people you want to serve. And the battle's halfway done by that. That doesn't mean that they'll all buy, of course, but you've now positioned yourself as the solution to a specific thing that they want. Either they want to have it and they don't know how to get it, or they want to get rid of it and they're not sure how to get rid of it. Either way, your lead magnet and the way you bring them onto your list is a solution to something specific for them. And then in your emails, I always say this: you can begin selling faster than most people think. In terms of the welcome sequence, I've seen people say you shouldn't sell until day 7. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
Build a relationship and give first. No, because some people are ready to buy today, and some people will not read email 7. The most read email that any of us have is the first email when you deliver the lead magnet. Or your thank you email, whatever you're doing in the beginning. And so I always encourage not a hard pitch in the first email, but let them know, the fastest way. I'm glad that you signed up to get this How to Be the Best Email Launch Copywriter in Lagos book. This is going to change your life. And I'm excited for what's going to happen for you. But if you would like to just move a little bit faster, the book gives you everything you need to know. But if you would like my personal help with it, or if you want to move faster, or, if you want to not just do email launch copy, but you also want to do sales letters, I got something else for you. I wouldn't even do that, the side note, but just like you want to move faster. You want to get my personal help on this. I'm available. No pressure, but I just want to let you know that I'm here for you, and give them a link to buy something from you, or not personal help, whatever. Just take them one step further and accelerate their progress. You're going to get, depending on what the offer is, I mean, you could get 20% of people to buy that first thing. If it's medium ticket, something, but not that they won't buy high ticket. Less people buy higher ticket, but if it's $7, $27, I don't know how to translate that to other currencies, but something that's in a lower price range. A lot of people will say that's a tripwire. A lot of people will say, yeah, I'll buy that. Or even if it's, hey, I every month I take on 2 clients who I will personally take you by the hand and help you doing this. Now, of course, if you're talking about being the best email launch copywriter in Legos, I can't do that for 2 people. But you could say, I'm only doing this for one person. You're buying you got the free download, and this gives you everything you need to know to be that guy. But if you want me to personally help, I'm only helping one person. You want to be the person, click below and we'll talk. And then you sign them up. They sign up for a call with you where you can now pitch them your $1,000, $5,000 coaching service, or done for you, whatever you do. Anyway, you can do all of that in the first email. So anyway, the fastest way to turn strangers into loyal customers is, like I said, hyper-focused value. And once they see you're doing something that I need done, you're bringing value that I need in my life. The other things, anything else is like just icing on the cake. But I know that you're doing something that I need done. You're going to show me something that I need to see. Or you're going to help me accomplish something I need to accomplish. And then from there, you just, like I said, you kind of build on that. I want you to build authority. So within the first few emails, let them know who else you've helped, what other results you produce for people, and tell them about your unique framework or mechanism for making that happen. Whatever it is that you could have to show them. I'm not just talking. Like, I know how to do this. I can help you accomplish this thing, and we can do it really quickly for you. If those things are true. Now, don't tell them that if it's not true. But when you position, they have something that they really need or really want, and you're the guy or the gal who can do it. Let them know. And if you quickly put it out there, nobody has to buy from you, but a handful of people will say, "I need it. I'm ready for it." And then to be loyal, you want them to buy more than once. You got to deliver on the thing that they bought, deliver the value that they were expecting or more. And then next time you sell something that's relevant, they'll want to buy it. So that'd be my recommendation on that.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Last question from Mr. Divine. What kind of email contents are good for nurture campaigns?
It's all of. For me, I feel like it's good to do a variety of types of content to keep people from being bored with you, and to keep it from people from being able to predict what you're going to tell them. So we talk about all of these things. I'm going to teach you an important lesson, or I'm going to help you see your problem in a different perspective. If you see it from a different perspective, a lot of times our problem isn't the problem, but it's the way that we perceive what's going on. I misunderstand, what's going on, and that's why I have a problem. Once I see it the right way, I can fix it or I can avoid it. So that value-based educational content should be certainly part of your nurture campaign, because people want to learn. Telling stories, your personal stories are great. Telling client stories, like other people like them who are going through similar situations, tell those stories. And then talking about things that are happening in the larger space, your industry or whatever, those sort of just so people are like keeping them up to date with what's happening around them that's relevant to them. All of those things kind of weave them into not a pattern, but varying. I'm going to talk about value today. I'm going to talk about stories today. I'm going to talk about testimonials today. Whatever. And doing these things, each of them should be valuable in and of themselves. But I like having different kinds of value over time to keep people interested. But also, I'll tell you this. You still got to sell. This is 100% fact. If you nurture and don't sell, over time people decide that you can't sell to them.
Yeah.
Most people, not most, a high percentage of people say that's not what this list is about. You're only supposed to be giving. You're not supposed to be asking. So you want to regularly, quarterly, maybe even more, have a dedicated selling thing. I'm going to sell something. I'm going to promote an event, even if it's like not money, but it's something that I want you to take action and do something, so that people know that this is a two-way street. You're not just going to get information and not participate in or invest in the things that we're talking about. And again, not everybody will do it, but they need to be aware. I'm selling here. This is part of my business. I'm trying to make money from it. And when you give money as a person on my list, you give me money, you're going to get more value back than you pay. So condition people to expect to pay sometimes, or at least expect to be sold to sometimes. And even in a nurture email, of course, you can you can sell at the end. Have a little call to action. You can have a PS. By the way, I'm also selling my book, or something that you see people doing is that they have little ads in the middle. It could be ad for your product. It could be an ad for an affiliate product, or someone who bought ad space from you. Once you get a list going, or once your client has a list, hey, have you thought about selling ad space in the middle of this list, in the middle of the email? I never thought about that. Yeah, now you brought more money to the client, and they should be thankful for that. So you should still sell, because people need to know this is commercial. I'm in this to make money. I'm in it to help, but I'm not in it for charity. This is business. So anyway, I like to mix those up. I tell a ton of stories, and I don't sell often enough in my own personal list. For my clients, we sell in every email. At least 90% of emails. At the end, I'm going to tell you to buy something. And for my best clients, we don't have that many things to sell. So you're going to get similar pitches regularly. We're always selling, or for 6 months, we're going to sell you on buying a ticket to the event that's coming, because that's all we really want from you. Not only we want, but it's all we want you to do is to show up at the event, buy your ticket, get the bonuses, whatever. And so we focus on that. So all the emails are nurturing. For me, like 90% of emails are nurturing, and 90% of emails are sales. There's just periods of time when we have dedicated sales emails or marketing emails. And those are kind of usually limited to particular windows of time. But it depends. I have another client who I've been working with for a long time, and they get a daily email that's value-based but has ads in it. And then still 5 times a week, we also send an email selling something directly. So, depends on what you want to do. But anyway, that's the kind of content I like. Stories are great. Your stories, or stories of Warren Buffett or Kanye West, pick somebody who people want to hear stories about, and other clients who are like them, what they're into, stories about what's going on in the world around you. And then, of course, educational content. So all those things should be in your mix to make sure you stay interesting over time.
All right. Wow. It's been great having you, Donnie. It's been awesome. We are literally counting almost 3 hours here, and I really want to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you. A very big thank you. Um, I mean, you've literally said it all. You've shared with us frameworks. I also want to say a special thank you to Maria as well. She had to go off like some 30, 40 minutes ago.
Yes.
You said it all. I don't think we have any further questions. We don't have any further questions. So do you have probably any final words?
Well,
for us, final words, call to actions.
My final thought is thank you for inviting me to be here. For me, it's important that our copywriters succeed, and especially underdogs. If you're on the continent of Africa, I know that there's some challenges, and I want to do what I can to be helpful to my people. And so I'm happy to be here. I appreciate you inviting me to do it. I hope that I've said something useful without talking so much that you fell asleep on me.
No.
But I really enjoyed this. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you for that. I'll say 2 other things. Number 1, you're going to do your best work on the job. So I want you to continue learning, but also continue trying to go out there and get clients. Like I started getting clients way before I should have probably. But you learn when you have clients. The best learning you're going to do is when someone pays you to do something. So don't be afraid to start going after clients now, and you're gonna keep getting better. But don't feel like I need to read 3 more books and then I'll be good enough to go and do it. You already know more than your clients. Most of your clients do about email copywriting, about copywriting in general. So spend time this week. I guess this coming week, you can take the weekend off if you like. This week, spend some time going after clients confidently. Just remember, I'm here to make you money. Not me, you, but I mean, like, you are here to make your clients money. And when they hire you, they're activating a profit center for them. So have the confidence in that you can help them and go after it. And that's it. Be at peace. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the future. Oh yeah. I wouldn't be mad if you subscribe to my YouTube channel as well.
Sure. I think you can share the link in
what is it?
Yeah.
I gotta go find
You can do that. And I think you are also giving out I don't know if it is still available, free copies of Subject Line Science. So
for the people who are in the Facebook group, the Black Copywriter Coalition Facebook group, and if you're not in there, you can request to join. It's available for free in there. So if you're not in a group, you got to get in the group. And that's it. So yeah, we got tons of free stuff in that group, like stuff that you should be paying for, really.
So you can just
a lot. That's it.
Yeah, Black Copywriters Coalition Community Facebook group. So if you're on the call, if you're listening to us live, and if you don't know what the group is all about, you can rush there, you can join there. A lot of awesome stuff going down there. I'm sharing the link to the YouTube channel here right now, so everyone on this call can join. You can subscribe to Donnie's YouTube channel. I just sent the link in the group. So yes. So we look forward to having you again, Donnie. Obviously, when we call on you next. This has been a soul searching webinar for me. Last week, this week, I mean, I don't think anybody who will implement all that you both have shared with us in the course of the week should not make their first client. I mean, you just gave us an ultimatum. Use this coming week to go search for clients. You've talked a lot about LinkedIn. You've talked about inbound marketing strategies and a lot. So we are really going to work on this. I think the problem a lot of people have is the implementation.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of people attend webinars. A lot of people attend conferences, but when it comes to implement, very few people actually put in the work. So I think that's the key thing here. That's the key thing.
Yeah. If you're not on LinkedIn, set up a profile this week. And if you are on LinkedIn, or whenever you join, connect with Gideon, connect with Maria, connect with myself, and start having connections. Start seeing what kind of content is there, so that you can share your own content in a way that shows expertise and value. That's one step that you can take. That's pretty easy. And there's all kinds of other stuff. The replay is going to be on YouTube. Go back and if you didn't take notes, take some notes and just do one idea at a time. Boom, 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 and then build. When I say one at a time, I mean start one and then start another. Don't quit the other one, but add new stuff, and you'll be well on your way to getting your first and your next copywriting client.
Right. Thank you so much, Danny. That's on that note. Okay, the name of the Facebook group. Somebody is asking.
Oh yeah.
That's Black Copywriters.
Black Copywriter Coalition is the name of the group.
Writers Coalition. So I'm just trying to type it.
I might have a link for that someplace too.
Yeah. So Black Copywriter Coalition. So you can just search for it on Facebook, and
it'll pop up.
You can just join the group, and you'll not regret it. Not regret it. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone for doing this. I mean, for everyone that joined this live. We really want to thank you, particularly. We almost had some three. We almost at the 3 hour mark here, and
Yeah.
for people are still gonna watch the replay. The replay is very much available. So I think you can also share us your email, the link to your email list,
Oh yeah.
just so anybody wants to subscribe to your email list, you can do that. Can do that. So while he's doing that, I want to implore everyone of you on this call to listen and rewatch this again, and then of course implement, implement, implement. That is the best, the key to success. The key to success.
Yeah,
The key
it
to
is. If you, it's seriously, if you implement and follow through, you can't lose ultimately. You implement and learn and implement and learn. You
Yep.
you can't lose. It's just, and have the patience to keep going. Like Maria said, show up. I've seen many people. I haven't had a client. Yeah, if you keep going, you will. If you give up, you won't.
Okay, yeah, that's it really. That's it really. Once again, we want to thank you, Danny. It's been a great session. 2 hours, 3 hours well spent. Maya couldn't because of urgent matters, but thank you both. We really want to. This has been a great webinar. Has been a great webinar. I believe someday we get to do this in person. We're really looking forward to when we have this kind of meetings again,
Yes,
physically.
that would be fun.
Yeah, sure, that'll be something great. So, thank you everyone for joining us. We want to wish you the best of success in all your endeavors, and we just want to wish you the best of success in your endeavors. Thank you, Donnie, and then I'll see you later.
Yes.
In the DM, and then right. So
Absolutely.
at this stage, it's great having everyone. It's great having you, Donnie, as well. Want to say goodbyes. Goodbyes now. Want to say goodbyes. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you. The comments and the feedbacks are coming in. So make sure all that we have learned, you put them to practice. You put them to practice. All right. Danny, we'll still see you again another time. And for now, I'll see you in the DM. Right.
For sure.
Thank you. And then enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
Thank you. And you have a great night.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
Bye, sir. All right.
See you later.
Namaste.
Namaste. That's great.